Hi, how's it
Let,
going?
let me tell you something. What's up, my dude? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm chill. Um, yeah, I mean it's going great. Today we have a no ADTS Unplugged episode. I mean, I don't want to start numbering them, but you have to. You know what I mean?
We
It's
pretty
number
much
two,
do. It's the
right?
second one.
The thing is like yeah. So basically, we don't have like we don't actually archive these ones like on YouTube directly, but for the sake of organization, I need to start numbering them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and also we don't actually have. It's not set on stone that it happens on Sundays. You know what I mean? Too.
Yeah, it's pretty
Either.
much like whenever we're like comfortable with it, right? Or like whenever we got some spare time.
Right.
But hey, more
What?
content.
Yeah, more content, right? So one thing is, I wanna slow down before we start a little bit, right? Because I'm also waiting for the bot to post it on in my channel, in my Discord, right? So a couple things, right? I wanna run. There's a podcast on Monday, on the April 8th, right? We're gonna have episode 5, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we have people locked. We're gonna send some messages tonight to start that conversation. It's gonna be pretty dope. Another thing is, so basically, I want to explain a little bit how the formal, right, podcast, you know, runs basically. So basically, you have the it's like a little bit more organized. You know, we gather people and we talk about the subjects of the topics. You know, we choose and we bring one topic each, usually about streaming or gaming, or game design. It's basically things that we can all talk about. Usually each person will ignite conversation with a
Something
opening
spicy.
statement with something spicy, right? But basically, yeah. I mean, it's just like conversation, debate, in all good chill, manner, right? But these ones, we have just it's more like I want to say. I don't want to say it's an interview format, but it is an interview.
It essentially is, because like last time you brought questions, and this time I brought the questions. So.
Exactly. I'm very excited about this. So basically, yeah. I mean, it should be. Can you check my title? Did I actually put everything? Do I have a typo?
Let me see. ATS Unplugged special episode number 2. Unplugged. Join the call for questions. No, it looks fine grammatically.
Okay, so
I'm also listening to the audio to make sure that we're loud enough.
Yeah. Okay, I made a post by mistake. I just had also someone just follow me before we were live. Cast or
Very
Die.
cool.
Thanks a lot for the follow. Actually, that person wrote me on Reddit. And I wanna say I'm very happy with the message. He said that he's gonna spend his show talking about our podcast. He said or he or she I haven't checked. I already run a community about helping streamers, but I'm looking to connect with folks that want to actively create content for people to enjoy and get something out of it. If I can make it today, make it out to talk with a group, that'll be great. I'll go live at 6 p.m. Central today. I told him, amazing, thanks a ton. We're gonna go live right now. So hopefully they can catch a little bit. But I'm gonna be, contacting this person. Very excited about this. Yeah, because we have our conversations before, he and I, about the podcast or the show becoming bigger than what we can do, right? Basically, what I mean with that is that basically that it grows by itself. We don't have to actually actively go out to the people, but we actually have the message out there of sending the message that the purpose of the podcast is, of the talk show, to have smaller communities come together.
And we've got like an open door policy for that. So anyone
Right.
who is interested, please let us know. We would love to have you on the show because we value accessibility and we value hearing your voice and your opinions.
Right.
So.
And yeah, it's interesting because I don't want people to feel that I need to invite them. We also are open for people to be, hey, I want to be in the podcast. What days you have available and things like that. We are super open to that. Which is pretty dope. And the thing is, like, yeah, like the thing is that ultimately we wanna always have people queued up, like in the future, so we don't actually have to sometimes actively look for
like
something
scramble for
right,
people.
scramble, like and things like that.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, I mean, with the purpose in mind of being by the community for the community, the thing is also we want everyone to grow with us too. And the thing is, like, we have even contemplated, even bringing like bigger people who can actually, yeah, you can actually, help, help everyone, you know what I mean, at the same time too. Because the thing is, like, I think the positive thing about this is that the more the podcast or the talk show is known. Hey, Dai, how you doing?
Hey, Dagan.
Very nice to see you. Like, so yeah, the more people know about the podcast, the more people, smaller communities will come, right? And basically, we need to hustle that. We need to make sure that it's promoted. It's people. A lot of people know about it. We need to make sure that ways to market it, and and ways to reach, further than we can. You know what I mean? So again,
Yeah.
it's live by itself. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It'll be
yeah.
self-sustaining at some point, ideally.
Right. I'm doing well, got over a trashy weekend, and came out good on the other side. Oh, really, dude? That's nice to hear.
Oh, that's good. That's a relief.
So yeah, today we might have so I also told Adrillian a little bit if she wanted to bring some questions to join the call. Maybe she's gonna join later. I let her know that we were gonna go live. We have people don't necessarily have to join video if you want to join the call and ask questions to me or Lee, which is it's up
as
to
long
you.
as you have like your mic, like you're solid.
Yeah. As long as you have a question, like obviously you want to come in and hang out and
because we're here
have
for
an opinion.
discussion. I mean, like we like hanging out, but we want to hear your opinions.
Actually, there's one thing that I want to do real quick, and I'm gonna talk really slow, so I can actually do the thing while I'm still talking. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
really slow. With Unplugged. Okay, yeah, I did. There is a bunch of buddies of mine that told me when you go live on Unplugged, things they're in Europe. So usually they cannot catch my streams at night. But Unplugged is in the afternoon, so they told me when you do it, let us know so we can join. And I'm doing it. I'm doing my part. Okay, I'm gonna Lee. This is your show.
Oh boy.
Go
yeah. So format's a little different this time around. Normally MX leads a lot of the questions. Today I brought almost all the questions, and Marco, if you have any questions for me at any time, just let me know. So
I have some of the old ones, by the way, that I never asked, but I don't know if they're like, boom. Okay, definitely not about gift cards, right, or dreams.
Oh my god, I'm so glad we got those like done and over with. Okay, so let's go with the first question. What type of game would you make if you had the opportunity to like make or develop a game?
Oh my god!
I get the impression that you would probably make a Metroidvania, and just because of like quote unquote bias, because I would also make a Metroidvania as my first one too.
Yeah, I think that I think that the thing is like, okay, here's the thing, right? I think the requirement, right, as a beginner or as an amateur designer of games, right, I would say, or as a person who has never actually designed a game from ground up to the end, right, ship it. I would say that if I had the ability, if I had the time to do a game, I would do a platformer, right?
Yeah.
Because the thing is about platformers is that I think there is like a lot of things about the feeling of like jumping or the platform design or the world or the story that it has to tell, rather than me thinking about what abilities I'm gonna get to keep unlocking this world, right? I think a Metroidvania will be actually way too advanced to be a first game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that, because like not only do you have to get like platforming down like to a T, I guess like in Metroidvanias, but you really need to think about like how the level design works in those games from front to back, right? Because you need to like go one direction and then go another, and it's even more complicated if you're trying to go the route of like, let's say the Messenger, right? Because that game is not only a linear platformer, but these linear levels needed to be designed in a manner that is both fun to go through it the first time and fun the second time. I'm a little bit on the fence about that. I think they're more fun to go through the first time. I'm not biased
Fair
because I
enough.
did the linear or I did the 8-bit category, but
Right. Me
yeah.
too. Me too. You know, the things like, I don't know, like things like I would think that, for example, if Konami would have said, you know what, we're gonna go with Metro, like when they did Symphony of the Night, right? If they would have started with something like Symphony of the Night, I think it wouldn't have been as successful because they didn't have the knowledge of the previous Castlevanias already. Part of that format is what made the game. You know what I mean? Like the small platforming, you know, the rooms and the sections, and you know, whipping, you know, and you know, whipping, and you know, getting other web. The thing is, like, also that made it, having the decision to be like, we're gonna introduce different weapons. That is not all it is. You know.
I know, that was so crazy. Like just like the Chrysogrim, like the shield rod Alucard shield combo. That's still mind blowing even to this day. And like that wouldn't have really worked too well in like a linear style game by comparison. Well, I mean, it could work, but like it feels like such a natural evolution of the formula to just like kind of say like, hey, we're going from like linear level design and we're gonna make a giant castle for you to have fun in. It's gonna literally be like a Castlevania like mania.
You know, by the way, Adrian, what's up?
Hey, Julian.
But I wanna say also the things like, maybe if you think about it also, what Nintendo did with Metroid was always Metroid game, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I don't think they reached their peak or their maximum potential until they hit Super Metroid 3, right? And the thing is, like, I don't remember which one. Super Metroid 3 came out first and Symphony of the Night, right?
Yeah, because Symphony of the Night came out on PS1.
Yeah.
Yeah. NES was like way before that.
Right. Was Super Nintendo?
I'm pretty sure it was out before PS1.
Let's see.
Okay.
We're doing it live, right?
Okay.
Super Metroid.
We gotta get our facts straight. We can't just like lie, because like we are Armchair developers, but like we still have like some semblance of what we're talking about.
Yeah, Super Metro was 94. I think Symphony was
like 97 or 98. Oh wow.
Yeah. Symphony of the Night release date. 97. Yeah. I think the thing is, like, there is like a lot of things to learn from that, right? Like the thing is, like, I don't know if I want to say that, you know, Konami was like, wow, like they did Super Metroid, we could do something like that, you know, because they already had a formula that people liked and it was like fun, right? But things like, in my opinion, they spiced it up in a way that it was like, okay, this is how this game should be played. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Even though sadly they actually dropped Konami's dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, at least we got the anniversary collections for Castlevania coming out. That's kind of cool, right?
It's like a spoon-fed, you know, fun. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah.
it's like, hey guys, we actually still here. We care about you. No, you don't. You just want to make some money. You know what I mean? Let's be serious.
For what it's worth, I'm happy about it because I think they're making like a really accessible version of like, what was it, Haunted Castle, and I know that game is like such a pain in the groin to like get your hands on these days. Right. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah. The thing is, like, oh my god, I know we have talked about this before about the Konami fiasco, or I want to say the Konami
conundrum.
Downfall. Yes. But it's such a shame because Konami had a lot, I want to say more than 20 IPs that were like amazing back in the day.
I know.
Right? Oh,
there's so much I love, like Silent Hill, Metal Gear, Castlevania, Contra. Like I'm literally just discovering Contra, and like I'm having a ton of fun with it. Gradius too.
You can still join. Yeah, Adrian, you can join whenever you want. Actually.
Yeah. Let us know.
It's gonna be the you can join on the voice on voice. You know.
Yeah. Hop in one of the rooms, and we could like get you in here.
Yeah, it says here list of Konami games, right? Spaceship, Space King, Block Invader, Block Games, Space War, Missile X, Astro Invader, The End. This is the 80s. Let me jump into something. Badlands, Circus Charlie, Hyper Sports. Oh my god, wait. Galactic Warriors, Gradius, Konami GT, Konami Ping Pong, Rushing Attack, Scooter Shooter, Caroling's Road, Twin V, WizKids, I don't know what this one. Double Dribble, Mr. Goemon versus Gradius.
Oh,
Iron
I love
Horse.
Goemon. There's
I
so
know.
many good SNES games for him. I love him.
AKA Mr. Kabuki is called. Rock and Rage, Jailbreak, Salamander, Bass Angler. Oh my God, they have so many games.
Marco, Julian is in the room.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna run.
For sure.
Is that a surprise guest? Hi.
Hi.
What's up?
It's good to hear you.
Good to be here. Sorry I'm late.
No, it's fine. It's
Okay.
fine. Also, by the way, you can leave whenever you want. This is no pressure. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we're all on the couch right now, essentially.
Yeah, we're on the couch.
In our
Okay.
own chairs.
Castlevania, Blaze of Steel, Combat School, Contra, Dark Adventure. Oh my God, dude. Typhoon, Super Contra. The Main Event Devastators, Ajax, Thundercross, Hot Chase, Gansbusters, Konami 88, Gradius 2. Dude, the list goes. I'm not even reaching the aliens on the 90s. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Simpsons. So, oh my goodness.
Oh, that's right. They did Turtles in Time. I forgot about that. That's one of my favorite beat 'em ups.
Oh my God. Like, the thing is, like, what I would call this, there's a word for this, and it's called addiction. Right? It is a big shame. The thing is, like, it's funny to see, actually. The thing is that when they reached 2000, they actually didn't stop releasing, like, the release, amount of games they were releasing were actually still big, right? Even though, they got Grand Dance Revolution, Beatmania, but oh my God, they had like so much stuff, and they still weren't like, you know what I think it is. I'm gonna tell you. But the thing is that you can see starting 2006, the list was coming down, right? But I'm gonna tell you something. I think what happened with Konami is that Kojima is Kojima's fault, and I'm not saying. I think Kojima is better now by himself, right? But the thing is, like, when Kojima wants to make a video game, you need to let Kojima make a video. You know what I mean?
I guess NGS5 is kind of a testament to that narrative-wise, right? Because it's pretty much considered, like, at least I'm assuming it's considered like one of the weakest story-wise in the series.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, because I think it's definitely an incomplete game, that it wasn't like all full to the expectation. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, like, imagine, like, the thing is, what Kojima needs in life is infinite money and a team. That's what he needs. You know what I mean? And he can get whatever he wants. He can, like, it's a big risking artist. You know what I mean? Like, you can, do whatever you want. But they didn't want to do that. They want, like, my dude, we cannot sink money. I'm not excusing them, by the way. I still dislike what happened.
I mean, it gets harder. Like, I can see why Konami kind of declined. Like, I guess by like you said, like the mid 2000s, right?
Yeah.
Because like, I guess as like technology advances, you need like so many more people to like work on different projects, right? Like, if we go back in a time machine, by that I mean literally look at like the credits for a Super Nintendo game, you can like probably count on like maybe like two hands how many people actually like worked on a game. Like the dev teams were small back in the day, and like,
right.
and
Wow.
it's just crazy to like think of that now, because like games these days are like multi-million-dollar like projects, right? Like, how much did like GTA 5 cost to produce? Like several million. Like, it's ridiculous.
Right, and also the years that it takes. Like, the jump in between. I bet your ass that they start actually building, thinking about brainstorming and designing the game before they even release a new one. So they actually they know what's coming already. You know what I mean? Like, they know what had to be cut, and it's like, okay, we need to put this in the next game, because they always need to be producing anyways with people with jobs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, 6 months before release, it's like wrapping up. It's like crushing bugs, releasing a beta, doing network stuff, multiplayer if they need to, you know what I mean? So, like, testing and things like that. And it shouldn't be like changing story or making gameplay changes and like that.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on the size of the game, at least, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you will say you will make a game. That really, if you can design, if you can make a game from the beginning, will it be a point-and-click game?
No.
Would it be Gris 2?
Chris, no. I don't know what it would be.
Okay.
I would want an RP game. Let's say that.
Oh my God.
The bias is real.
I want this huge RP. I don't know.
It's called VR
ball.
Yeah.
No, that's just chatting. That's not
So many people are
role-playing
playing
that.
that.
Yeah, but there's no story to that though.
VR chat is
Right?
kind of dope,
I
no?
want a game that's tabletop RPG, but in a game. Instead of in your head, you see the graphics, right? That would be
Ah,
it would probably never be possible, but that's what I would want.
I
I
see.
see.
If I had infinite money, infinite do
Infinite
anything I
money.
want, that's what I would want. Like an
Oh,
MMO, but
okay.
not everyone's story is the same.
Yeah, we can do
You
it.
play an MMO, right?
Yeah.
But if someone else plays an MMO, it's gonna be the same story unless like you play different classes, but then each class is gonna have the same story. Maybe like a few
Right.
sometimes they give you choices, but it's like 3, so then there's like 3 paths. There's like
Wait.
really no actual you don't really change anything from what
No,
they've
no,
already
no,
made
no,
as
no,
a
no.
story.
I actually, WoW is not like that, right? You can choose your class, but depending on the race that you have your own story.
But then everyone with that class and race has the same story.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, you have like 12 different races, right?
I know, but it's
But you don't
It-
like.
Yeah.
but
you
it's
don't like,
still pre-designed.
right? Because of the
It's
format,
like
right?
the game I'm thinking of isn't possible. Like
Well, not
it's just not.
necessarily. I mean, all it really comes down to is like giving the like the design tools to the player themselves, right? And then it's just a matter of like, I guess either creating like the narrative or like the assets in
RPG
relation
Maker.
to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think RPG Maker is a pretty good example of that. That's definitely like a very good like entry level idea for that.
Yeah, I think it gives the necessary tools that is like you have something in your mind and you want to make an RPG, or let's say an RP. I don't know. It's the same thing, right?
Same thing, yeah.
You will have the tools to do it, right? If you want to drive the story. I think it's like at the end of the day, like you need to think about production, right, and catering to everyone. Not everyone. Well, the thing is, like, I guess I don't know how can it be like designing something that you as the player can then design your own story, right?
It would be like the Little Big Planet of RPGs, right? Because like,
Right.
Granted, like you have all the tools that the developers want you to use, but like you can use them to like any sort of like combination to effectively like craft your own like narrative within a level, kind of.
Right. Huh.
It's to my knowledge.
Yeah.
I've never played it, so I don't know.
Yeah. It's dope. It's a good thing. Man.
It's very charming.
Yeah, actually, the word is charming, right? It's like it cannot not be adorable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like Yoshi.
It's like Yoshi. Yes.
Jeez.
Okay, so the thing is like another thing. Like I thought about the platforming thing. The thing is like realistically, for example, I've thought maybe if I have some time, like 3 months off or 6 months off in my life one day, now as an adult, I will actually learn like Swift or something to make a game on iOS. Just
Nice.
Just to learn how to do it and what it takes, right? In my mind, it doesn't matter what will be. However, obviously, I'll try to do something different, like not the same stuff. Like the things that you see waves of games, like you remember when Bejeweled started the wave of like pairing 3 things,
Yeah.
and then you get points by that. Like now, 50% of the games are like that, right?
For mobile, at
or a
least.
snake game, or a running game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, they're
Oh my
easy to
God.
produce, so like at that point, like why not? If it just makes you that much income. I mean, granted, it's like not the most like impressive thing, but I mean, I guess if it sells, like I guess the company's kind of doing it something right,
Right. Dice Presso said, "I have a lot of questions for you all later." Okay.
Later, okay.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Adrian, did you bring some questions?
I did, but I don't know if they're interesting.
Oh, tell us.
Okay.
Hey,
Oh,
if
yeah,
if
go
they're
ahead.
interesting to you, they'll probably be interesting for us.
I don't know. I was like trying to scrape my
Probably.
brain, trying to think of things, and I wasn't sure the genre, and I don't know. I was stressing
Well,
myself out unnecessarily. You know how I am.
Yeah. Yeah, we know. Well,
They're
okay.
kind of more questions than like topics.
Yeah, that's
I don't
fine.
know.
Literally
that's fine, too.
anything. We talk about anything on Unplugged. Like it's
Yeah.
not doesn't have to be gaming related either. We talked about
Okay.
gift last time.
About life.
Okay, I'll give you a life question.
Okay.
And it's kind of I have a general question, and then I kind of have a question for each of you.
Yes. Okay.
So I'll hit you with the general question first. Growing up,
Yeah.
did you have a dream job?
Yes. I did.
Really?
Really?
Yeah. It
What was
was
it?
to be a game designer.
Oh.
So the thing is, like, this is what happened.
So where
right?
did that come from?
This is what happened. I'm gonna tell you. When I was 9, I started watching Dragon Ball, right? And that's when I started learning how to draw, right? There's this chain of events, right? I started learning how to draw. My first drawings were like Goku and shit, you know. And the thing is, like, the cool thing is that Dragon Ball actually led me to learn about human figure and, you know, drawing and techniques and things like that by memory, because I knew the characters so well that I could just replicate them from memory, right? So that's one thing. So from there, I was like, Dragon Ball is now not enough for me to actually have fun drawing. So what I did was, this was like 6 years past, right? And by the time I was 12, I remember knowing that I wanted to study illustration because of that, right? The things, illustration and graphic design, because I didn't know well, right? I thought illustration, whatever. By the time I was 15, I actually started designing my own game by just drawings. I'm gonna tell you what the game was about, okay? And this was what I thought. I thought, well, if I do illustration, I can be a concept artist and I can work in the game industry because of this. I really always thought I was gonna be a concept artist because working in a video game, right? So the game was like this. There is like, I designed some characters, whatever. Actually, I might have that book still, so I can ask my mom to take some pictures of it. But it's in VR. There was 9 swords, right? And each sword, obviously you can see, you know, I like Zelda a lot, right? Each sword gives you a special ability that you can use. You can use the sword normally, right? And by that time, I don't remember if I had played already Kingdom Hearts, right? I don't remember, right? So you get each sword can give you a special ability, and the last sword that you get can give you the ability to fly, which is used for fast travel, right? And you can actually fly above the world. But each one, for example, can have, like, one is a fire element, and then basically the more you use each one, the more you unlock an ability tree and things like that. So basically you can choose your favorite. And that was the main concept. I even like wrote and created my own language, like symbols for the game.
Lord of the Rings style.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I had all these pages like reading like with the you know, how do you call the ABC? How do you call the
alphabet?
The alphabet. You know, reading that code, like to see how Dobby looks and shit like that. So it was a mix of like fantasy and futuristic stuff, I want to say. But you know, like I don't want to say cyberpunk. I don't think so. But it was more fantasy, thinking about, you know, Zelda. You know, there was some environments that I grew up to and things like that. And you know, I never pan out. Like I worked with it for like 10 months or something like that, or a year.
Ooh.
And
wow,
you know, life happened, right? And I had to go to college and blah blah blah. And ultimately, yeah, I mean, the thing is that when I went to college, then the advisor or something, he told me, hey, actually looking at your stuff, you actually have more potential to be in fine arts rather than graphic design. And I was like,
really?
Yeah, actually, because I was very good at drawing. I knew human figure. You know, I had a portfolio strong more in fine arts, illustration rather than graphic design. And I was like, yeah, whatever, I'll do that, I guess. And I did fine arts. But then then after that, I also got a scholarship to go and do digital design, which is like more web and graphic and shit like that. So basically I have both skill sets. But the thing is, like, working in concept design makes me, like, I never got really good to a point that I'm like, wow, I'm super professional illustrator. Like, I know a lot of techniques and I know how to do different things, but I'm not like super good at that, you know what I mean? And same for fine arts and things like that. Like, that's why I consider myself more of a generalist in these fields, because I know how to do it, I have done it, and I like to explore it. Like, oh, I want to push, you know, I want to see how this is. I want to, at least I have the toolkit to actually jump in and know the basics and then expand from there, you know?
Yeah, versatility is good. Like, I definitely respect that when it comes to that.
Yeah, but I still don't think that dream is gone, right? But the thing is, like, I think I have reached a point in my career that you know, past, you know, a level that I'm like I'm very very senior at what I do now, and jumping back in something as a beginner will actually I'll get a bump, I'll get a cut in salary really big that it will affect my life significantly.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
more money, more problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
True words have never been spoken.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's my story.
So
Okay.
do you think that, like, regardless of money,
Mhm.
skill wise, like, I don't know a big difference between graphic design and game design.
Mhm.
Like, do you think that's a big jump, or do you think having graphic design would aid you in being a game designer?
Actually, realistically, career-wise, because game design is not just like let me think about the game and do it, right? Everyone has doing something specific. If I actually will switch to the industry, I'll have to do something that I'm familiarized
Right,
with.
yeah.
I have to do something like UI design of the game,
Right.
which is something that I know how to do UI, and
Mhm.
it's something that I can transition to before I get to think about game mechanics or balance and things like that in general. Like that's will be my introduction to it, because I always thought doing it the easiest way to do it. I have gone to panels about this when I go to PAX and things like that. The easy way to do it is just enter a QA position, and that will get you into the industry. Or if you know people, right? If you already have skills. But if I actually apply, I will have to apply for UI stuff, basically, and then from there, which is I think doing UI for games is actually I have tried it, and it's actually way harder than I thought it was gonna be. But I think it's just part of like learning the craft, learning, like knowing, okay, I need to do this and do that. The things like think about, for example, games like Blizzard. Blizzard is very heavy on UI. Everything is like super well crafted, shadows and lighting perfect. Everything's like every button feels like you want to press it. The thing is like I don't design that way. You know what I mean? I don't design like super realistic or super cartoony. My design is more flat. It's more I want to say minimal or simple, right?
Right.
But the thing is like it's not that I don't know how to do those things. It's that I just have to adapt to do those things instead. In case of games like Blizzard games and things like that,
Right.
Yeah.
Lee, you can.
Let's see. So the question was like, what was my dream job?
Like growing up, did you have one? Do you work at it now, or has it changed? Do you have something else you want to do now? Like possibilities. I don't know where you work at, so I don't know.
I am a proud Twitch streamer as my current gig. So growing up, my dream job was, and it still is, to be a writer within the video game field. Ideally, I want to be like the lead writer, so I could focus on like plot, or at the very least character development, because I love the idea of like creating super cool, complex and fascinating characters. I guess like kind of an origin to that is growing up in elementary school. I took a lot of classes. I didn't really. I hated school growing up. I hated it so much.
It's the worst.
Yeah, it is the worst. School fucking sucks. I hate it. College is
minus
amazing.
no chill.
Yeah, minus no chill. But one class in particular that I always would love was my my English classes, and the reason why I like them is because math and science, they're super logistical, and that's kind of cool. But I love the idea of being able to kind of like get out to get out of that purely logical mindset and focus on the creative and artistic aspects of the world, because I think that expanding and understanding your own mind and your appreciation of like other forms of art, whether it be like movies, video games for me, because like I am a huge fan of interactive mediums, or like books, is amazing. And it got to the point where like I used to write like so much just randomly on like my grandmother's typewriter. I don't think we have it anymore, sadly, but which is kind of a shame.
Always wanted a typewriter.
Oh, they're so good. Like they're so clicky in all the right ways. But
the OG mechanical keyboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. But sometimes I would just randomly write like some fan fiction based on like some of my favorite games. Like to this day I still distinctly remember. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Pikmin series, but yeah, my God, I wrote like I think like 10 pages about that when I was in like elementary. I'm just like I'm already in love with this like as a child, and like I want to do this still. And like I still have high hopes to break into the video game field. I recently got like a bachelor's degree in English literature, and
Nice.
I am just I cannot wait to get started doing that. That said, the position I currently work, man, Twitch streaming is fun. Um, I, I I think this is slowly becoming my dream job, and like I think I'm to the point where maybe I'll just like narrate my own stories that I write on stream because like I just it's so much fun like getting to meet all these awesome people and like maybe this is like the thing that I was born to do or something like that because like all
Yeah,
the things in like life are just like panning out for like me to just go like full time for this. So
yeah. I think the decision is big, but I think also the you know how it is. You guys both know that it's hard work, but it's very rewarding. You know, in general.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's so rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
It is. Because at the end of the day, you're also creating. It's just like a different way of creating like what your life and things like that. Even when I'm like, we're doing the when we do the regular, you know, Armchair Developers talk show, right? I'm like DJing the music, making sure the audio is happening, you know, making sure
hard.
the conversation flows, you
It's a
know,
lot of work.
reading the script, and you know what I mean. Like the things like it's not it gets complicated, right? It gets a little bit like sometimes I'm like focusing like even like reading chat or thing. I'm going and you know and I need to also listen and to make a counter argument and things like that. You know what I mean? So it's like holy shit. You know what I mean? Like, but I have been getting way more used to it. Like remember the first episode was like completely different league. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Compared to the
Like,
last.
we're
episode, for
definitely
example.
expanding and like evolving like for our process, and it's cool to see that.
Yeah. So
What's your dream job, Adrillian? Because we didn't get to ask you that.
Growing up, I never really had a dream job. At one point, I wanted to be a ballerina. I know, typical girl
Aw.
thing, right?
about
But
what?
No, that's cool. A
ballerina.
Ballerina. Oh no, that's dope.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
I've always had an interest in dance, and I've always had an interest in drawing. But with drawing, I've never been good at drawing from my head. Like I'm like because my dad can draw super well. I'd have to see something and then draw it. Like
Right.
I can't do
Which
it
is
from
fine
my
too,
head.
though. No.
Yeah, I mean that is an art form, but I was always so frustrated because I couldn't draw from my head, and I know you can learn, but I was too impatient to learn, you know.
Right.
And the dancing, like the ballerina, like growing up, we've kind of been like subpar with the finances. Like we never had money to like do anything. Like I've never done. Well, I did soccer, but that was because of where I lived at the time. They had provided it. At that time, I was like lived in inner city, so it was kind of like low income, so it was available to the schools. Like the schools would fund it because of all their funding, because it was a low income area. But we've always just kind of been just can't do it, you know, like anything. I never could take dance classes, music, like we couldn't do anything. And they do have programs here where if you make a certain amount of money, they'll fund you, but we were always just above that. Like we could it was frustrating because I really never did anything as a kid in school. People are like, oh yeah, I grew up doing figure skating, I grew up doing hockey, I grew up doing
You
this.
mean
I'm like, I didn't grow up doing anything.
Right. Yeah. I know. What you mean.
Yeah, so I don't know if doing any of that would affect. It probably would have affected like where I am now, like what I would have wanted it done. Because I think if I had ever ended up in ballet, I would have gone on with it. Because I do like to dance, but I can't. See, again, I'd have to choreograph it because I can't. I'm not creative. I'm not. I'll accept that.
Oh, everyone's creative. Don't say that.
In their own way. Yes.
I but like then again, like ballet is very structured and you learn, and you know it's structured, you're within parameters. And then I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a singer, oh, I'm gonna go into dancing, oh, I'm gonna go draw, I'm gonna go paint. Like it was never anything specific. It was just kind of like in that moment that's what I wanted to do.
Right.
And it wasn't until what grade was it? 11? 10,
First
11?
grade.
No, it wasn't until late high school, I'll say, that nursing kind of just had popped up. And I actually because at the end of grade 11, you have to write this big essay, and I actually did this essay on becoming a nursing officer, like going into the army. And
You went to the army?
That was my plan.
Really?
Oh
That was
my,
gonna be my
didn't know
plan.
that.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, Canadian army is different, right? So let's be real here.
And I'd
You
be
guys
a
are
nurse,
never
guys,
going to
come
fight.
on.
No, I'm just kidding.
This guy.
But hey, I get to shoot a gun. And I did this whole essay, and I like pretty much knew how to get in and do it all. And one of the main reasons I think I was pulled towards that was because they would pay for my schooling, and so you'd learn.
Okay, yeah.
I wouldn't have to pay. And then where was I going?
Nurse.
Sorry, I just lost my whole train of thought
No,
there.
it's all good.
Nursing guns army. 11th grade. Nursing pop up.
I was gonna say something else. I don't remember what it was.
Okay.
But and then I knew I would never, because you have to be at a certain physical level to get into the army, right?
Man.
And I knew
Yeah.
and I knew I'd be too lazy. Oh, the other thing was French. I'd have to learn French. They would teach me
Oh, that's mandatory?
in the army, yeah.
Nerds.
Oh, wow. Education. Let me tell you.
Not that I'm adverse to French, but I knew I don't want to learn French, you know?
Yeah, I'm in the same position.
I mean, they would teach it to me, and then I'm like, I don't know how much I would actually learn it. Like, I don't know.
Is that part of the
So-
curriculum in schools for Canada? I'm unaware of that.
You know how in the States you kind of have like a Spanish? Do you guys have like a Spanish
Yeah.
that's throughout school?
It is absolutely mandatory, or it was mandatory in the schools I went to.
Yeah,
even
it's
when I
kind of
graduated.
like that for French, but it's only through a certain. Well, I don't know about high school because I went to a private school for high school, so it was a little different. But
Okay.
you do kind of do a little bit of French growing up, but then grades 5 and 6, I lived in the States, so I missed
Okay.
those 2 grades, and then when I came back, I had to do French, and it was the worst thing. I absolutely hated it because the last time I did French was like in grade 4 or 3. Like,
Oof.
and you learn the colors and you learn numbers, like that was it. And sorry, it was just, and I begged my mom to put me into non-French. Like I begged her through grade 7 and 8, but like non-French was for the kids that were struggling, you know.
Right.
So and I was very smart in school. Like I was always like getting the high grades and stuff. Like I'll say I was good in school. That's something I'll say I'm good at. So then when I had to do French again, my teacher was very understanding. Even though he did yell at me at like the second day of class because I didn't know how to do something. But
Oh, that's not cool.
well, also I don't think he knew what kind of student I was yet. Because I mean, there are rebellious kids in the class, and he wasn't sure if I was one of them yet. And
Little did he know.
We-
right?
we had to, and I was super shy too, because we were working on this one project, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I was too shy to go ask for help. And then he was at his desk calling everyone out to read out their part, and I'm like, I don't know what. When he came to me, and I was like, I don't know, you didn't explain this to me. And then he just like threw his papers on the desk and just like yelled at me. He's like, am I gonna be holding your hand throughout the whole year?
Oh,
And I died. Oh my gosh. I just sat there because I didn't know what to do because I'm this freaking introverted person. Like, you guys don't know how shy I was. I was incredible. And like, I grew out of it, but.
yeah, you're
Anyway.
Julie and I know is like really outgoing, so like this is
Well,
kind
that's
of
because I'm comfortable around you guys. It's different if it's. Well, also, we're online. We are not face to face. Like, if I were to meet you guys in real life, I'd probably be this awkward person again.
Yeah, I can
I'm
see
gonna
that.
be
I can see that.
honest.
No, yeah, you
I'll be honest.
need to get readjusted actually when it's in real life.
It's like I'm meeting you again for the first time.
Yeah,
I'm awkward with new
I
people.
actually agree. That's true.
Yeah. Anyway, French was. I didn't like French, so yeah. Back to nursing. Totally forgot we were talking about that. Anyway, and then I knew I would never get fit because I'm a lazy butt. I don't have motivation to organize my life. You know what I mean? Like
Aw.
if I don't,
Sounds like
Like
you
if-
need a life coach.
you're not wrong. I mean, I'm just getting into the workforce too. Like, I just got out of college last year, and I'm learning to do stuff on my own, and you know, blah blah blah, adult crap.
Right.
But If I don't have to do something, I'm not going to, or I'll be slow at doing it. Like, it's very rare that I get
It's like finishing a game,
spurts.
right?
See, I have the deal keeping me going, MX. That's what motivation, right? It's gonna make me finish it, and because I'm a stubborn person, I'm gonna be like, no, I gotta finish this game, even though I'm super slow at it. Anyway, after the army thing, I was looking into going to Ontario for RN, registered nurse. I was looking at colleges there, and I was like, oh, I gotta save money, and I knew I would never be making enough money to save it, but it was something I would tell myself that I was gonna do, right? Like, I believed I was gonna do that. And then my friend from high school, because I took a year off after high school, I was working to, quote-unquote, save money. And she said, well, there's a nursing program coming here in my little town. Do you want to take it with me? And I'm like, I thought you wanted to be a cop. And she's like, I'm gonna be a nurse. So I was like, okay, let's be nurses together.
Nurse cop.
Nurse cop. So we did that, and it was for an LPN, which is different than RN. And I had gotten the impression that LPN was like a glorified healthcare aide, basically doing the dirty work, which it's totally not. RN and LPN are basically the same except for the pay. So then I did
thanks a lot
that.
for the raid, by the way.
So with the raid, hi.
Hey. So yeah, and when nursing came up, it was just kind of like, yeah, I want to do that. It was never like a dream of mine until like late high school.
Yeah, I think it's. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say that I have an aunt that's a nurse, and her daughter's a nurse, and I have another aunt that was a nurse, but she dropped out of college because whatever. And it was only 2 years, which was great because I barely made it through that second year. Holy cow. And then I did the exam, failed the exam, had to do the exam again.
Oof.
So I spent like another $500. Oh, the fees! Oh my gosh! Sorry.
Oh no, is it like
the
bar
fees
exam in terms of like how much it costs?
Okay, so I have a 15,000 school debt, right? From school.
Yeah.
Oh.
When I had to get a student nursing license for those 2 years.
Yeah.
That was like probably $200 in total, maybe $220, $250. And then when I became a graduated nurse before I got my license, I had to pay like another $180, which I had to pay twice because I failed my exam. The exam itself is $500, so I had to pay for that twice. And then I had to register. Do I have to register? I think I had to register with my college of nursing. That was however much. And then after my second exam, I had to pay like another $500 just to be licensed as a nurse for a year.
I mean, you came into here, right? You came into that knowing. You know what I mean? This is
I know. But like, oh my gosh.
It still sucks.
It's still a lot of money. But I was impressed that it only came to like 15 grand for 2 years of nursing. Like, I was expecting, like, when I go to college, I'm going to be spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, because whatever, right? That's college. But yeah.
You know,
that's where my job came from.
I think that I had student debt. I'm so grateful that like my scholarships covered me all the way through.
Me too, actually. Me too. I think that the thing is, like, I never like to think that there is a dream job, because dream job means, or a dream something is that it's unachievable, right? When the word dream is on it. And I never like to think about it that way. I think that, like, for example, I never thought I will have, when in the beginning of my career, I was working like on web. I never thought I was going to be doing, full-time design or something like that, or UI. Because I always thought, like, I used to think that I was going to be at, an Illustrator. You know what I mean? And the thing is, like, I guess it would be too limiting or unfair to yourself to not think about it that way. To think about that, because I'm now an adult and I didn't become whatever I wanted to be when I was a kid. Like, it's still not doable. You know what I mean? You can still aim for it. They're only obviously, realistically, like there's like a, hey PK, what's up? There's like a obviously the money limitation. You can just stop doing something because you want to do it, because we are not rich, right? We are not like, oh, I have $1 million in the bank, I can just stop.
Spare dosh.
Right, like I can stop. I can do whatever I want. I can quit my job right now and travel the world to find myself. You know what I mean? We can't do that. You know what I mean? I mean, so yeah.
Not unless you borrow a small loan of $1 million.
A small loan of $1 million.
Oh boy.
Oh, just a small loan of $1 million. So I'm gonna tell the banker, it's like, yo, yeah, I just want to travel the world and find myself, and then work. To pay me back.
Actually, no biggie.
Okay, cool.
Gosh.
Lee. Question.
Right. Let's see. What else do we got? I guess we'll do a casual one. What music genres are you guys into? Because like I don't think we've ever discussed this, and I feel like music actually does matter a lot, because like on your channel, Marco, you do song requests on a fairly consistent basis on certain nights. So and I never have song requests because I would be driven crazy by that. I'm super anal about my music, and I like what I like, and yeah.
That's very funny what you said, actually. What I want to do is just have one person at a time, so if you can patiently wait a little bit longer, so let me tell you something. The thing is, like, I'm very open mostly to new music or to music that is dope, right? The thing is that I don't think about music as genres, right? I don't think about it that way. I think about it as if I like it, I like it. I won't be ashamed of it, or I won't be limited to certain genres in general, right?
Okay.
Since I was a kid, like I have jumped in between genres, right? Or I have to switch around, so much that I don't think I like one genre in specific. For example, like I used to like progressive metal a lot, like Dream Theater and things like that. When I was a kid, like even when we were talking about yesterday, like there's a bunch of things like, old songs, that. For example, when I played, I don't know if you know this game called Elite Beat Agents for DS.
Oh yeah, the little rhythm game. Oh
right.
My god, that one's silly.
That was my first rhythm game, and it introduced me to so many songs that I will never like listen to before. I'm like, wow, like yeah, let me, I'm open to this. Like I don't mind, that's cool. But the thing is, like, there are like definitely certain songs that are way too annoying for me to enjoy too, though, right? Like some songs that I really put last night. That I'm like, what the heck?
The watermelon song?
No, the watermelon song was fine actually. I like that, but it's like I think the Jerk of the Week was one.
that I kind of did Mimi, because that was stuff, when I was younger, I browsed YouTube a lot, so those were the songs I came across.
You mean younger, like a year ago or something, right?
You could just.
There's gotta be like some genres that you like absolutely hate that you like wouldn't want to like ever listen to though, right?
There are
For me,
genres.
that's country. I can't stand that.
I like what's his name, Brad Paisley and Carrie Underwood, and that's about it for country. Nothing else.
Like I don't go on my way to actually listen to country. I don't dislike it though. The thing is, like, I don't hate it, right? But the thing is, like, if I have the option to change it, I would, of course. You know what I mean? But if it's like playing, like let's say I go to a fair or someone else's place or something like that, or at work, I'm not gonna be like, wow, like I'm absolutely disgusted. I cannot work like this. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? But there are genres, like there is like this expansion or sub-genre of reggaeton, which is not reggae. That is like from Puerto Rico and like Caribbean stuff. That is called,
my family's super into reggaeton.
Like dembow or something like that. That is just like, the thing is, like, it's the kind of music that is like, it's gonna be loud no matter what you do, and it's gonna be sexual no matter what you think. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh.
So the thing is, like, I just don't. I would say that is something that I would like, that I actively dislike. The things like, locally I haven't heard it in years, so. But the things I hear sometimes when I go back to the VR or something like that.
Don't go to Lee's house.
Oh boy.
No, but the thing is, like, I guess, like, the thing is, like, also there is like this factor of nostalgia that even though it's a song that I didn't like when I was a kid or younger, if I listen to it, I'll be like, oh, I remember this song, you know, even though it wasn't a song that I used to like,
Right.
I will tolerate it now, you know. But the new stuff, I'll be like, I absolutely don't care about this song, you know. What about this artist? I don't know who this person is, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like Kelly Clarkson.
Oh God. No, the things again, I don't hear
still
Kelly
like
Clarkson.
that song that you played. I thought it was okay.
That's a classic.
It's a good song. I like
Yeah, the
Behind
thing
These
is,
Days was.
I obviously I was overreacting for meme value. For,
Well,
you know,
yeah, of
I was,
course.
yeah,
like,
of
being
course. How
funny,
could you not, right?
right? I have to, you know what I mean? But
Perfect clip moments, I'm telling you.
but I will say also that then, you know, I want to say you know, like for example, if I'm working, you know, depending on the things that I'm doing, I listen to certain kind of music. Right? If I'm like at home, if it's in the morning, sometimes I play before leaving for work. You know, when I'm working, like I listen to like lo-fi beats, obviously. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Because
so good. One of my
they're
faves.
dope, right?
Love it.
Or the thing is, like you know, I like working listening to Drake and things like that. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, oh, that's cool. You know, like I enjoy this. I always have the Drake though, like since like 2012, I want to say. And most of my friends don't.
Canadian.
He's Canadian, yeah, he's Canadian.
Yep.
It's the same.
But like yeah, like you will say that maybe lo-fi is not that far from, you know, hip hop or something, right? Things like that. But the thing is, like I do like I don't know, like video game music, beats. You know, thank you for the host. Like, you know, remixes and things like that, like OSTs, and you know, it's something that I know personally, like not a lot of people enjoy, and not a lot of people had in the mood always all the time to listen to, which I prefer to do.
Okay. Julian, what about you? What types of music are you into? Because that's something I'm genuinely curious about.
Oh, okay. I'm kind of not really into, well, except for country. I don't like country except for those two. I don't really have a genre I like stick to. I'm kind of like a mix.
Am I the only one who has this genre of music they're like super into?
I mean, like right now I have a lot of like I'll call it radio music that I like.
Okay.
I know that most people hate it because it's on the radio all the time.
Oh,
See,
Bad. It's some of them are good.
right. No, I know.
Let's be adults.
No.
adults. Because I like a lot of old stuff. Like my dad has a lot of old music. I grew up. I've done a lot of road trips in my life because we moved a lot of places. So my dad has all of his music, right? So I know a lot of old stuff. I mean, I can't remember all the names or every single song, but like if I were to hear it, I would know all the words to that one song because I listened to it growing up. Like I know a lot of David Bowie and you know, blah, 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 a lot of people. So it's just kind of more of if I hear the song, I'll decide then if I like it or not the genre. That's why I have a hard time trying to find new music to listen to because people are like, oh, you should look up what kind of music do you like? I'm like, I don't know.
I think that's the stupidest question. You know,
I
no
don't know.
offensely, right? But if someone we just met, right? I'm trying to break the ice. I'm not gonna go, hey, so what kind of music do you like? I don't ask that shit.
And
know,
then
Why
I'm
not? It's a good question.
No, it's not.
What
It's
do
not. It's
Not
like
when
it's so
you-
abstract.
It's not a good question if you don't have a specific type of genre of music you listen to.
Well, I'm sorry for assuming people know what they like.
No.
I mean, I know what I like, so maybe I'm the outlier.
Actually, no.
You just have friends that don't know what to do with their lives.
Okay. That's fair.
No.
That's
I
fair.
think I do absolutely agree. Like I'm very like that in general. Like I'm very introspective in general, and I know exactly what things I like and I don't like. Right? The thing is, like, usually people are gonna be like, oh yeah, I like they're gonna, you know, I think, let's put it this way. I think the better question will be, not saying that your question is worse, right? The better question will be, what are the bands that you have been listening to lately?
Oh, see, that's not a good question either because I don't listen to specific bands.
What band are you?
I'm sorry our question doesn't cater to you, Julie.
Nothing caters to me. I'm the outcast here. In
Pisco
every
says,
sense of the word.
I don't listen to a lot of music. I just had to make up a genre to give people an answer.
Oh my god. So, come on,
Maybe
man,
I should
guys,
start doing
know what
that.
you like. Know what you like.
I think it's a very good quality when you find someone that they know exactly what they like and they want they don't.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily reflecting on maturity or anything like that because it's just different type of people. But I
Yeah.
think it's very nice to know. Well, at least I like to know. I think I guess it's direct is related to the fact that I like being people when people are direct, right? And they
Yeah,
got
I like that.
they're lean in what they say. They get to the point. You know what I mean? And it's not like, oh well, I don't know, like, oh my god, where this conversation is going already? Like, I don't wanna be
Dude,
here.
it's so awkward to talk to someone and they're just like, dude, I don't know. And it's like, well, how do you not know? Like, you know yourself better than I know you. Like, that's why I'm asking you for your
So,
opinion.
no,
Like,
Lee, I don't know myself at all. But
oh, the struggle.
Like, ask my mom then.
Basically.
literally, that'd be me. Mom, what do I like?
Big Angel, what type
Right.
of music do you listen to? Is this a good question? No, I guess
I feel like it's the same
thing.
question.
It's the same kind of question, you know?
You just replace type with genre, and it's the same. It's
It's the
Typing
same.
the
yeah,
genre
so
is the same, yeah.
obviously.
yeah.
Oof, rip.
So, I guess in an effort to kind of display that I am aware of what types of music I like, my favorite genres are lo-fi hip-hop, ambient trip-hop, which I will happily explain if you want to know what that is.
Yeah.
I like rock, I like alternative.
Ambient hip is like lounge music?
Ambient trip-hop is essentially like...
Elevator
it's-
music.
No, not quite. It's like... it's ambient music, so it's like kind of something that like plays in the background, but it has a focus on like, I guess like an industrial kind of sound to it, so to speak. A good example of that, the main genre that is used in the Silent Hill games is called ambient trip hop. So DJ Shadow is like an example of it. I think Cinephile. I'm trying to think of like other artists. I don't think it's like a super. I don't think it's that popular. But it's super mellow. I'm trying to think of what else I like. Electronica. I think Nightcore is pretty cool. That's like I'm slowly getting into that, and that's just like, it's like sped up like music.
Oh yeah, I know Nightcore. It's like
Oh, you
they
mentioned
call it
that.
like anime music because it sounds like high pitched anime girls singing.
Wait, it's like a
Essentially.
chipmunk music?
Yeah, it sounds like chipmunk music.
Are you
essentially, but,
serious?
yeah, but I don't know. Like the BPM is just like it's so catchy and it like
Okay,
energizes me. Every
You
time I
guys
hear
know
it.
my sub song?
Or no?
that-
What is it?
It's
Oh yeah,
shoot.
na. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that's Nightcore.
Oh really?
Oh, okay.
Because
I didn't know.
it's the original song actually sounds so bad because it's so slow, and the
Yeah.
sped up version sounds normal.
I thought
And
that was
it-
the normal
Really?
version.
No, actually, I'm not sure which version. I might have a in between speed on my sub sound, but I forget what it's called. But it's a good song. I like it.
It's
that
a
is-
cool genre. Like it cheers you
It's
up. You know?
unique.
Just because it's so like it's so rapid. I guess.
Oh really? Huh. Dice Presso says, what types of video games do you like? Which is a bad question. I
See, I don't think it's a bad question. For
it is bad.
everyone.
It is
I
bad.
think it's bad for me. I can't say anything about everyone else. But like, what type of music? What kind of games do you like? What kind of books do you like to read? What kind of music?
What are
movies
you
do you like to
into,
watch?
Julian?
I don't know. I don't know who I am.
Listen. If a normie comes to me and asks me what kind of types of video games I like, I'm gonna be like, even if I tell you, would you know? Does it really matter? You know what I mean?
Yeah, normie wouldn't
It
ask
does
that question.
matter. They want to know you.
No. For example, I'm at work and we are forced to talk to each other. You know what I mean? And someone asks me, I said, yeah, I'm into photography, design, art, video games. And they, oh, what kind of video games do you play? I'm like,
Not Fortnite.
definitely not Fortnite, or when I
keep
say, like,
getting
for
asked
example,
that.
like Warframe, even with gamers, sometimes
Warframe's
I'm
not
like,
popular
oh,
known game.
Warframe
Yeah,
has
it is.
reached 50 million people, users. What are you talking about?
That's pretty popular in my book.
Okay, everyone I've talked to, no one's heard of Warframe.
Well, they're
That-
ignorant then. This game,
No,
15
no.
million
I
people-
never heard of it.
It happens to
until
me too.
I watched a YouTube video of a YouTuber I watched play it last year or the year before. So,
I mean,
in my opinion, it's not super well known.
yeah, I guess so. When I tell gamers, the thing is like, I don't want to, most people are gamers anyways, right? And I tell, oh yeah, Warframe. I'm like, they're like, what? And see, oh, space ninjas, shooting and stuff. It's cool, like.
Sick movement.
Okay.
I usually don't like getting too into it, like, unless in that kind of environment, I guess. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Do you actually consider Warframe, like the tag Space Ninjas, applies to the game?
No, I don't think Warframe
Because I
is
feel
at
like
that
it
level
doesn't
anymore.
fit the game at all.
It doesn't.
Like,
it doesn't
in my
involve-
Well, they're like
opinion-
cyber ninjas, no?
I don't think of them as ninjas at all.
But
I
they're
think
so
they're
acrobatic.
things that
They have
jump around.
katanas.
Just
Like-
because you're acrobatic doesn't mean you're a ninja.
Well,
You could be
yo,
a
tell that-
gymnastic and you're
Parkour.
not a ninja.
Yo, tell that to Raiden from Metal Gear Rising.
Ooh.
See, I haven't played that, so I
Edge's
don't
boy.
know.
Well, there you go. Like,
Raiden. The thing is like, I think the thing's like, if someone has played the second Dream, they know that it's not about ninjas anymore. That's the thing. That's why I don't want to get into the details, right? But
Oh,
the
so I
thing's like,
guess before that point.
before that point, the things like,
Well,
I don't know, katanas. Yeah, there is a katana, and things like. I mean, the things that they're inspired by a lot of anime stuff, anyway. So anime is like essentially, Japanese
Anime
culture,
is
which is
Bible.
kind of related to ninja shit. I don't know, shinobi, right?
yeah.
Piken just says, "What do you like to do?" It's this universal question. Like the thing is, like I'd rather have someone ask me that, and then I can expand on things like when you actually offer an answer that gives them, a lot of different options to keep, right? Because usually a conversation goes like this, right? I tell you something, you can either answer me with cool, right, or like agree with it. Oh wow, okay, or
that'd be me.
tell me a
Or you can ask
story.
another question.
You can ask a further question to expand, or you can actually tell a story that relates to that, right? That's the only three options you have in conversation, But I mean, cool will be like, having a response to it, right? That is like doesn't expand the conversation. So when someone asks you what do you like to do, and you give 10 different answers or 5 different options, they're gonna pick one of those to actually keep expanding on, and then you can keep talking more about that. You know what I mean? Like, some people have said, oh, photography, I like photography too, and say, yeah, I started doing it, etc., right? And then we talk about it a little bit. The thing is, like, for the record, I hate small talk. I'm just saying, I'm just putting out there. I don't want to know about the weather.
What are we
because
doing
I know,
now?
I know it's cold outside. I know the trains are being delayed all the time. I know the city is crazy. I don't want to hear about anything else. What?
I will say
It
it was
just
4
sucks
degrees
that-
outside today, and it was amazing weather. I will say that.
The thing about small talk is that it kind of sucks because like I don't think too many people really like doing it, but like it's kind of like a necessity before you can even like get to like the bigger things. You don't think so? I would feel really awkward if someone got like
a
super personal
requirement.
with me.
No,
Yeah,
not
it,
super.
it does feel like a requirement.
Doesn't have to get personal, but the thing is like I think the requirement, not the requirement. I think the purpose has to be meaningful. I don't like small talk. Doesn't have a meaning. It's not meaningful. Doesn't have a purpose. Just to actually just fill in the silence.
So
Or
what would
I
you
mean, what if
fill in
it's to like
silence?
get a feel on their personality? Like, what if that's the intent?
I don't
Because
know.
like
the thing is like,
because it's a good icebreaker. Because like if someone gives you like barely a response, it's like, oh well, maybe I don't really like this person's personality because they're monosyllabic or something like that. And it's like, well, thanks to the small talk, I don't have to talk to them any longer.
well, fair enough, I guess. But I don't know. The thing is like I don't necessarily have a go-to question. The thing is like, for example, when someone new joins at work, let's say, right? I don't try to go to them and say, yeah, I want to talk to you. Let's talk. I want to get to know you.
Right.
Like, I like to leave that to things like to grow naturally, like organically, right? If I see them make a remark, saying something, that's something that happened, when I listen to them talk in a meeting, when they are talking to other people and I'm in the same group and things like that, I'm just getting glimpses and small things about them that I'm like, oh yeah, I actually heard you talking about this the other day. I have done this or I have seen it. That reminds me of you and things like that. That actually is not a small talk. You're actually just having a conversation normally with them because it grew just organically. You know what I mean? It's not like, wow, this weather, am I right? Like, I mean,
Okay.
who the fuck
I'm gonna
cares?
say something now. Let me tell you something. Let me tell
Okay,
you something.
Let me tell you something.
I think whether small talk can improve depending on where you live.
What do you mean? Can
Because
improve?
it can be actually meaningful.
Okay.
Because I don't know if it matters to you guys, but in Canada our weather is like bipolar. So
Ooh.
springtime
Mhm.
is like a good time. Middle of winter when it's -50 is a good time. The fall, really hot summer, weather changing. Like I feel like it can be meaningful here because It snowed last night. It's blue sky, sunny today. Everything's melting. Most of our snow is gone. It'll be early fall, late spring, and we'll get like thick frost on our windows because the temperature dropped overnight. And we're all like, "Oh, did you get out of your? Could you even get into your car this morning? Mine was frozen shut." And like
Ooh.
blah blah blah, you know.
No,
So I feel
I'm gonna tell you the way. I'm gonna tell you the way to do that, right? I go
But,
to
like-
Lee and say, "Yo, you don't know what happened last night. My car, this happened," and you expand on the story and you actually tell the story instead of
Yeah.
making it a small talk.
But see,
don't
it
wait for me
starts,
to add-
it starts as small talk though, because you need a way to start the conversation,
No,
right?
because the thing
Yeah,
is that
yeah,
ultimately
yeah. 'Cause
we're
you'd be
making
like,
this
"Oh,
story
you
about
see
I
the
feel
what
like
we
for
did
car.
strangers
outside
you
yet
need
today?"
small talk. For strangers you need small talk.
You do, yeah.
I don't care about strangers. Maybe that's why.
Okay, well.
I mean, I don't like
it's your
strangers
friend, you
either,
can,
but
keep
like if I
writing
had
it
to.
because you know them, right? But like if it's with something you don't know, it's like I'm not gonna like get super into something like
What kind of
without even like
music do you
understanding
like
the
to play,
boundaries.
sir? I'm standing in the elevator
No,
with.
for
Like,
example, no. For example, it's like the way I see it. Also, meeting a new person, right? In general, it's an opportunity to be myself, right? It's an opportunity for them to see who I am, right? Either by me making jokes or by me, telling them, a story or telling them what I do, etc., etc., right? The thing is, like, I feel that it's just because they're strangers and we need to get to know each other doesn't mean that getting to know each other is like doesn't mean that I need to use small talk to get to know each other. I think that you can just go a little bit more than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
hey, stranger, nice shoes.
Exactly.
Gosh.
No, the thing is, like,
But hey, if he's got like some Louis Vuittons on, like, hello.
like for example, no, in New
I don't know
York,
what this
like
look
there's a lot of times that I see people with a dope. There's a lot of times that I see someone with a dope shirt, or dope shoes, or something. And I'm like, hey, I like your shirt. That's it. That's no small talk because you are not gonna stand there and talk to this person longer than that. You know what I mean? You're just gonna go and say, you're just walking and say, hey, I like that. Okay, you keep doing. It's a compliment. You know what I mean? Cool.
Yeah,
Move
well,
on.
that's a compliment. That's a whole different ball game than small
Right.
talk. That's different.
No,
Like,
I guess I'm using the example of hey stranger, nice shoes, right?
I guess, yeah, yeah.
How
I've
do
been
you?
trying to do that more with myself, actually, kind of complimenting people because sometimes they may be having a bad day and that's all they need, right?
That's
Like
true.
a good compliment, or because like if you were to receive that randomly, wouldn't you like it? And
Yeah.
I've been
I think-
trying to
yeah.
find reasons to do that more.
Yeah.
Like back when I had my hair dyed blue,
Mhm.
I saw another girl and she had like this pretty magenta purple hair color and it was so pretty, and she
Right.
kind of looked like this introverted teenager walking around with her mom shopping for clothes, like just kind of following behind her. So I was like, hey, I like really love your hair, and she's like, oh, thanks. And
Right.
because it was kind of something we both had going on.
Right. I think both introverts and extroverts love when they get complimented. I think that's
Okay, you can't tell me one person that doesn't like a compliment.
yeah.
I
No,
know a
that's
lot
a
of people who don't
universal.
like compliments.
really. Tell me more.
They just clam up. They're like, oh, I just don't say anything. Like, dude,
But do they internally, in their heart, hate it when someone's like, I like your hair
I
today?
don't know. I can't read their mind.
Or are they okay? Is it they are awkward at receiving them? Because I'm super awkward at receiving them. Doesn't mean I don't like them though.
Right. Does that make you feel
I
good?
could say don't give me compliments, but I mean secretly. That's just
I
me
think-
trying to not get too many compliments because I feel like I get too many. Not
Even
like I
dogs
feel
like
like I get too many, but I feel like I will get too many.
I see.
I'm
Yeah.
not selfish. I promise. That's not what I mean.
Okay. Bullshit. Okay. So what I want to do? I have had Dai waiting for a little bit. I don't want him to go crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
Dai, are you there? Dai.
Dude, is that my long lost brother
Oh
Dagan?
god, hi.
Hi,
Hey.
how are you? Welcome
I'm
to the
good,
show.
How are you? Thank you.
Good to
That
have
caught
you.
me off guard.
Ooh, got him.
Sorry, we were a little loud.
Ah, how is
How are you?
everybody?
I'm
I'm
good.
good.
I'm good.
So, real quick, right as a transition, Just a reminder: this unplugged version of ADTS is an improvised, no rehearsed, and no topic previously thought of. We just hang out in general and talk and ask questions to each other. Um, Sounds bad when you say die. um, uh, yeah, so basically we do have a regular format, which is more structured and more planned, and we encourage everyone to actually contact us and talk to us if they want to be in the podcast full time, which is every other Monday at 9 p.m. EST. And it happens, uh, you know, it has happened 5 times. It's gonna happen the 5th time next week, right? It's gonna be super dope. You bring a topic, you bring an opening statement, and we talk about stuff. Cool. So let us know. Join the Discord if you want to know more or if you're interested. Which is we have a lot of slots open. We have already the April 8th lockdown. We have 1 person for the 22nd so far.
Yep.
It's gonna be dope. It's gonna be dope.
Yep.
Dai, what's up?
Hi.
What do you have for us?
Okay.
Shoot it.
So I do have a starting question. So what do you guys think of the direction the AAA gaming side, like the AAA side of the gaming industry, has been going with, like, flops like Fallout 76, Battlefield 5, and how it's becoming more and more commonplace for people to release unfinished video games?
Well, let's see. Relating to that, I am a firm believer in releasing a good finished product on release.
I would hope.
Yes. As someone who has grown up, I guess, dude, I've been playing games since like the SNES and Genesis era. Those games were effectively like considered complete, right? There was no DLC, no content, no patches. I mean, I think in like the NES they had like revisions for certain games, like Castlevania 1. It had a revision because there were like some bugs in it. But as far as mainstream gaming goes, I hate the idea of releasing a buggy product. Like, I think it's unethical to sell something that like doesn't work. I think it's frustrating from a consumer standpoint to have to like to say that, hey, I spent $60 to get like a quote unquote early access version of the game that is barely functional, and I probably would have been better off waiting at least 3 or 4 months down the line so that everything stupid could be patched out of it. I don't like the trend in terms of like modern gaming for that, and I think it's sort of regression rather than progression in that aspect.
I think that the things like, I'm gonna put you an example. I'm gonna put you something. I'm gonna tell you a story. Okay.
Okay.
Listen. Gather around. Okay. No, I really thought Anthem wasn't gonna be a flop.
Oh.
Right? I wanted to
Oh.
believe. I wanted to believe, and
Oh, that
Anthem
hurts.
looks so dope, right? The lore is so cool, right? the thing you're getting in your suit, and oh my god, like you're flying, you got the flying right. The thing is like, I wanted to believe. The thing is like, it's a big disappointment. I think there's a big part of me that want to believe that these games are gonna be fine, because at the end of the day, I'm a gamer and I like to play games. And if I'm interested and get, I'm hyped with the story of how it looks and things like that, I wanted to succeed, right? But there is a point that you need to like be true to yourself and be like, wow, I'm playing a trash game. This game is boring, or this game, I'm wasting my time. There's nothing. This game is buggy. There's no content and things like that. And that's what happened to me, right? I got to level like 15, I want to say, but luckily I got the EA access, the premium access. I didn't pay for the full game. And I was like, in the beginning, oh wow, this is so cool. Look at it. Look how it runs. Like the things like, I can point out the positive things about it, but the thing is like, at the end of the day, it's like, wow, like I'm not gonna get, I'm not getting like that much fun that I thought, like, and it feels bad. It feels bad because the people who actually spend $60 are still fighting for the game to be good, right? I'm still fighting I'm still waiting for releases. The things like, realistically, companies like BioWare or any other company, right, or EA, whatever, these are people working in the games, right? These are people that they cannot make a release every day. They're gonna like, I ship product, as my job, and I know how hard it is shipping products and making a build and making sure that you kill bugs and you introduce more things and you make tweaks, like even that, and that's with software. So imagine with a game that is like I'm gonna say like 5 times more difficult. You know what I mean? 5 times more risky. You know that, and the thing, because there are people who already paid that are ready, like that are in a subreddit cheating on everything, and making sure everyone knows how shitty this thing is because they paid $60. Or there is another group that is like, I paid $60. This game is amazing. I'm gonna keep playing this game because they wanna get out of the game the $60 that they paid, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, the part of me is like, wow, I wish I could keep paying EA for EA Prime Access so I can keep playing this game, but ultimately it's like, I won't. You know what I mean? Like, it happened to me then with The Division. I thought The Division was gonna be bad. It's gonna happen the same problem. Like the curse of a looter shooter being buggy or being trashed for the first 8 months or 12 months. And it didn't happen to Division. I'm happy about it, and I still play it. You know, and I play almost every day, even after, before stream, you know, things like that. And I thought it was gonna be bad. Because the thing is, like, they have a responsibility to know, like, and I don't want to excuse BioWare, right? I'm not saying that. But for example, Division 1 grew as to be like an amazing game for 3 years, and they used all that for the second game. This didn't happen with Destiny 2. Destiny 1 grew to be an amazing game, and then they released Destiny 2. Oh, and now every game is like, oh no, wait for a year. In a year, it's gonna be amazing. I don't.
Then you get the
care.
full game.
Wait a year to release the game, and then release a complete game. Then release a good game that people want to play. You know what I mean? Absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
What about you, Dagan?
Oh man, I haven't been able to justify buying a multiplayer AAA title in a little bit, which has kind of made me really upset because, like, me being among the younger group of people, especially, like, I'm not calling you guys old, obviously, but, you know, I'm younger.
Yeah.
I'm 17. I'm almost 18. Shout out to me almost being 18.
Let's
But
go.
I grew up playing Halo 3 and, like, some of the better Call of Duty games, and now I can't really, you know, do that as much anymore. And, like, all the games that I bought in 2018 were single player, whether it be indie or, you know, AAA. Like, I bought Red Dead Redemption 2, I bought God of War, Spider-Man, and, you know, none of those have, or at least had, like, Red Dead has multiplayer now, but not when I played it. I like the Spider-Man signs.
I did
you're
the
doing
Sailor
there.
Moon sign.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Perfect.
cannot not do that, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
perfect. But yeah, and for me, it's just disappointing. I hope Borderlands 3 is good. That'd be
wait,
fantastic.
Same.
Yeah.
And I can only hope that, you know, the next Halo game will be good. But it puts me in a very, like, melancholic position when, like, a lot of game developers are okay with, you know, what they've been doing, especially, like, everything that happened with Battlefield 5 was just a hot mess. Like,
And Battlefront 2.
oh man, yeah, I almost forgot that game even happened. It's like that's how much of a flop Battlefront 2 was. And I grew up with the original Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a massive Star Wars fan in that game. I never touched it because, you know, I don't agree with a lot of those decisions.
Do you think there's a time, or as a gamer, that you actually need to say, I won't play this saga anymore because it just doesn't, it's not the same as it was. If it has, let's say, because it has changed, and people has liked it, and it has changed because, you know, because negligence or shitty releases or things like that or whatever. Have you ever seen yourself in that situation? You say, no, I'm not gonna fuck this.
Yeah, a few times. Most notably for me, would be Mass Effect.
Oh my god, Andromeda, like, completely bombs, didn't it?
So
Not
you're
only
saying,
did it... Go
you're
ahead.
saying if that there's another Mass Effect game, you wouldn't even pay attention to it.
No. I like, for me, what would have to happen is I would have to have, like, a giant, like, large group of people who are all, you know, Mass Effect fans be like, listen, this is really, really good. But, you know, like, if Mass Effect gets an E3 trailer, you know, whenever, I'm gonna be like, oh, well, whatever. I don't really care. And, you know, for me, same thing with the Devil May Cry reboot. After that game came out, it took a little bit more than the 5 reveal trailer for me to be back on, because I didn't play the series again for probably about 5 years after.
Oh, really?
That. Yeah, and you know that's one of my favorite series of all time.
Yeah.
So.
That makes me sad. I'm probably one of the few people that actually like the DMC reboot.
I think it like I'm very mixed on the Devil May Cry reboot because like it's not technically a terrible game, but I do feel like it's a large spit in the face to Devil May Cry fans.
I see.
I know Ninja Theory, like I don't know. Did you follow the development of that game at all?
No, but I think I remember you mentioning it, that like they said they something along the lines of like they changed up Dante's character or something like that, specifically for something.
They had a whole panel relating to how. Oh, and also I do like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I just saw that. That is the one multiplayer game that I have played, but I never played it online. So, but yeah, the DMC reboot. Ninja Theory had a panel about why Dante's character would never work in like the in like modern times, which was like 2013. A whole panel dedicated to why Dante's character was bad. They're like, oh, he's a gay cowboy who would get laughed at in a bar and would get beat up. And he's not funny anymore. He's not cool. And I'm like, well, even if this game's amazing, it just like stepped on me, man, because I love Dante.
Right.
Yeah. Wow, that's so like disrespectful to like the source material. That's like the equivalent of like watching a like the Michael Bay Ninja Turtles movies. Like yeah, I said it.
That name. No, yeah, like wait, I'm gonna say something controversial, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, go nuts. We live for that on this this channel.
I as a big fan of Transformers, I'm gonna tell you how much I love Transformers first, right?
Oh man.
Every computer that I have, every hard drive that I have, let me see if I can open this. Every hard drive that I have has a name that there is a Transformers name, okay? I can actually take a picture right now. I'm gonna put it on the Discord, right?
I see this proof.
You need to see the proof. Like you also haven't seen even my, you also haven't seen even my laptop or my USB drives and things like that.
Oh wow!
Oh my
right?
god, they are named after Transformers.
Yeah, they're fucking dope. Okay, they're
That's
dope
amazing.
names.
I think that.
Like this is how much I like the genre, right? I do like Transformers a lot. I grew up with it, like a generation, like I know, all the names, I know, how they change each season and things like that. And I like Michael Bay Transformers movies. Okay, that's the controversial.
Now, it's controversial, but I do have a respect for that because I don't feel like Michael Bay ever went out of his way to be like, yeah, like the 80s Transformers show that everybody loved, that sucks. I hate that.
Right, he didn't.
Like, yeah,
he wanted to make his own thing, and the thing is like Transformers each season change to be something completely different, and the universe of Michael Bay, I think it's called Bayniverse or something like that. That's how they call it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the universe of Michael Bay is its own universe. That the thing is like has his touch. It's like the American values, American flag, man, the army, Transformers, family values. Oh, I'm like a middle, right? Like, yeah, I'm a farmer. I live with my daughter. I'm a good old. I'm good with guns. That's fine. You know what I mean? Explosions. Also, how the Transformers transform. You cannot argue that that's not dope because that's fucking dope.
No, the only thing I didn't like about that movie was how much of a focus there was on like the human characters, which is like I'm here to see giant robots kick ass, not to see like these random people.
Actually, that's a good point that you bring.
That's my only criticism of that movie.
I have a comment about that I read about this. That the thing is like when you have a character that is not human, or has his or her face covered, it's harder for you to connect, and that's how easier it is to make villains, for example, right? When they actually look ugly, or they have a dark past, they actually are damaged, they covering their faces and things like that. And that relates also to, they didn't want it to happen with Transformers because you cannot relate to them, and that's why first their faces need to be more realistically human possible, like close to human, so they can actually have more expressions. And they also needed to introduce a stronger story with human characters, so you can actually connect, or how do you call it, transfer that connection from the human that likes the Transformer and you liking the human because you can relate to it. You know, it's like it's not.
Yeah.
That was one example, but it's in general
I get
like
the
things
reasoning
like that,
behind it.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
pretty interesting.
It makes sense, and I get that, especially like me being a film buff. Like, yeah, I get it. It makes sense. Like, I'm not a super huge fan of those movies, but I'm also not in the boat that's like, yeah, man, those are the worst movies ever created. Blah blah blah. Like, they're fine. Like, I
they're
don't
fine.
love them, but they're
I
fine.
do
They're
know
not,
a lot
like,
of people who hate them though.
Yeah, they're not heinously terrible. You know.
Did you guys see the Ninja Turtle movies at least?
I saw the first one.
I saw the first one as well.
I watched it on a plane one time.
Yeah, I saw the first one.
Like, I hate saying this, but like the Transformer one was like a lot better by comparison, at least.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and oh man, oh man, I don't even have words for how disturbed at least the first Turtles movie made me.
Yeah.
Like
it's just, I don't know, their hyper exaggerated personalities in addition to like how they looked made me like super uncomfortable. And like, I don't know, man, the Foot Clan didn't feel like the Foot Clan. Like, I saw more guns than like acrobatic like ninja like choreography, you know. It's just like, why? Anyway.
Pecan just says maybe the Iron Giant might be a better example of human and robot being.
That actually is a
being
great
interactive.
example of that. That movie's great.
It's like the connection is
cried.
incredible. You know, like yeah. Ocean.
yeah, I have no
We got
shame
each other.
saying that I cried at the end of the Iron Giant.
Aw.
Yeah. Cool. Dai, do you have another question?
I did. I had one more question.
Judy?
Okay, so it's very ironic after the whole discussion of what kind of music do you like, but if you guys had to pick one video game of the 2010s, now that you know we're almost done with the 2010s, we have the rest of this year and it's over. One video game of the 2010s. What's your favorite? If you had to pick one for this generation.
Hold on, let me check the release date for one. I can only pick one.
One.
Let me check Steam.
As the
I
best.
probably already-
Okay, that's easy. I know.
What's yours?
Okay. Yeah. what's
Witcher
yours?
3. It's obviously Witcher 3 is the best.
Okay, that's
game
a good
of the
choice.
2000s. The 2000s.
Mine is probably Shovel Knight. I think, and I say that because I'm gonna go on a limb and say Shovel Knight is my favorite game of all time. I think it does everything it sets out to do perfectly, and then some. It does DLC correctly. It does secrets correctly. It does level design correctly. Does music, like literally everything it sets out to do is like perfect in my opinion. It is the definition of a perfect game.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a passionate answer too.
I love Shovel Knight. If I could meet Yacht Club Games, like I would. Oh my god, I would be so happy.
Man.
What about you, Dan?
Good answer though.
What's your favorite game of the 2010s?
Okay, so out of fairness, I am not going to pick anything that came out this year.
So
Because-
no DMC 5?
So
yeah.
did no DMC5. Thank you. Okay.
I was
thanks a lot.
no, but I want to be fair. I have had 5 years to dwell upon this game. I'm gonna say Bloodborne.
Oh, that
Because-
game is so good. I love
That was
it.
my
For
second
me-
option, to be honest.
Yeah, Bloodborne hits everything that I want. And perhaps if MX were not here, I would have picked Devil May Cry 5 out of spite. But
Naruto Shippuden.
yes, I really loved Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 4.
So
Came out
good.
in 2016.
Yo. Low-key, I have that game, okay? Don't tell anyone.
Yo, I have it too. Yeah, wait.
At least he's
So,
super into the Storm games.
quote unquote side note right here. When I bought Ninja Storm Revolution, it actually came with a poster that I've been too lazy to take down that I'm gonna put in your server real quick.
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead. Also, by the way, while you do that, I want to ask anyone in chat if you have a statue of the limited edition of Naruto Ninja Storm 4 of Sasuke. I'm looking for one. I have money. Okay?
Oh man.
I will pay cash for this statue. Okay? Thank you very much. Let me.
So specific.
Oh,
Is that
that-
Robo Naruto? What am I looking at?
Yeah, it's Mecha Naruto because that was their
Mecha-
whole
yeah.
that was their whole push for that game for some reason.
So weird.
Yeah.
You know, that would be interesting to talk about. Thank you, Pikengo. Interesting to talk about how the mecha culture actually has influenced a lot of stuff in Japanese media. You know,
Well, yeah, you figure like one of the first prominent anime was Astro Boy.
Oh yeah, Astro Boy
nice.
made actually a lot of impact that people
Yeah.
ignore. I think more than people think.
Yeah, like it's definitely like one of the most impactful anime that led to like all of the 80s and 90s culture. Where then afterwards you got Gundam, you had to a degree like Outlaw Star, and just that whole like 30 years especially was very like robot-y. Evangelion, there's a good example.
Oh, Evangelion.
Yeah.
My best
When
anime.
did Gurren Lagann come out? Because that's not a mech one though.
Yeah, that'd be 2000s, I believe. Like,
Oh, okay.
2008. I'm thinking.
Wow.
Hopefully, I'm checking.
Yeah, I'm reading here. It says here, Astro Boy had become one of the most successful manga and anime franchises in the world. They combined 33 tankobon volumes have sold over
God.
100 million copies worldwide, making it the 10th best-selling manga series of all time. The 1963 anime series was an outstanding success. The 1963 anime series was an outstanding success and became a mainstream hit on television in both Japan and the United States. Having praised for its importance in developing the anime and manga industry, it has been featured in numerous greatest anime of all time lists. It has partially inspired other authors in the creation of influential manga. Super dope.
Yeah, and you figure that was 15 years before Gundam started, which was a huge wave in Japan. And
That's crazy.
the Gurren Lagann was 2008. So
For the record, One Piece is the most
selling manga.
Yeah,
Of course it is,
451
it never
million
ends.
sales.
That's
Yeah,
true.
it
It
never
doesn't have
ends.
that on its side.
Yeah, it's still going.
Since
Still going
1997. Holy shit.
The One Piece was the
Dragon Ball is
made
the
along
second
the
one,
way.
and Naruto is the third.
God, I love Dragon Ball.
God, I love Dragon Ball, man.
I don't think I've ever said that on stream before, but God, I love Dragon Ball.
It's canon now.
Yeah, there we go.
Part of the lore.
Established. Yeah,
See, when I got home, Dragon Ball like never aired. It was supposed to be either that or Sailor Moon that like aired by the time I got home. So like, I don't know
this
anything
explains a
about
lot.
Dragon Ball, but like I distinctly remember when I was younger having encyclopedic knowledge of Sailor Moon, and I have no shame admitting that because she was a super cool character.
I mean,
Yeah,
she is
Sailor
super
Moon's
cool,
cool.
actually.
I like Tuxedo Mask.
I remember that
Oh, he's cool too.
once I got my voice changer, you made me sing the Sailor Moon intro.
I did.
I remember that.
Too funny.
I
You're
mean,
like
we had
always
to do it.
like that.
We had
Yeah,
to do it.
had
There's
to.
a clip somewhere. Yeah.
It's part of the canon.
That's really good. I didn't know about that. That's really good. I'm happy I got to hear that.
Can we
Yeah.
take a second to acknowledge like how amazing Bloodborne is? Because like I know you mentioned that
Shout
that's
out
like your
to
favorite game of the
Bloodborne.
2010s. It's so good, dude.
Yeah, I've
I
played
think-
Bloodborne 5 full times.
I think
100% of it.
the only thing that I would say that the reason why I went for The Witcher is that I felt a way stronger connection with the characters than I did with
Yeah.
Bloodborne. Like the thing is like not saying that Bloodborne is not superb, right?
Right.
I think both games are 10 out of 10 games, and both games are part of my favorite games list. But the
Mhm.
connection that you get with The Witcher is like something that transcends like video games or things like that. That is like holy shit, like I'm there.
You're
You
playing
know what I
that
mean?
fiction, you know?
What?
Yeah, especially because like you figured that there's also more tangible characters in a game like The Witcher compared to Bloodborne. Where
Yeah.
like in Bloodborne, we talked about this when I was on Armchair Developers, but how like Bloodborne, a lot of it has a lot of implicit storytelling.
Yeah.
Rather than a lot of on the nose, like obviously the main character of Bloodborne doesn't even have a name. It is whatever you name them.
Just the
Hunter.
hunter, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hunter.
So,
I think like the tangibility of like your actions in The Witcher, like with the world around you, are like super cool too. Like I haven't played
I agree.
too much of the game, but I played enough to like know that like the quests and like dialogue choices are impactful in like some manner of form, and it's cool. I like that a lot.
Plus, you can take a bath. So that's just
You can shave too,
Amazing.
I think, right?
style your hair.
Silly hair.
Like why not, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Although the
So
thing is, like, it's funny. Sorry, it's funny in my mind that when I see, for example, other people playing or a screenshot of The Witcher, and it's not styled the way I styled my Witcher, I'm like, that's not Gerald. You know what I mean?
You're like,
That's not the
what?
real guy.
It's not a real.
That's an imposter.
Yeah. I used to
That's
have
how
the-
I was with Red Dead. This
Oh,
past
really?
year. Oh yeah, because they even have like your beard grows, and I'm like, oh man.
So
Yeah, so like my Arthur Morgan looked very different than everybody else's Arthur Morgan. And I was like, wait a minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
Well, Dai, thanks a lot for your time, by the way, maybe.
Yeah, and thank you for having me here. It has been lots of fun.
Yeah, thanks
No
for hanging
problem.
out.
Oh yeah, no problem. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Unplugged episode.
Unplugged. Thanks.
This is fun. I like this format that we get to like
Yeah.
have people just come up and be like, "Yo."
Yeah, me too.
So yeah. Have a good rest of your day, everybody.
Thanks.
Sounds
Thanks,
good.
buddy.
Take care.
Appreciate it.
You too.
Okay, Lee. The floor is yours.
Sure. So I know you asked this to Dai, but I guess like let's ask each other this question. So were there any series that I think you asked them this. Were there any series that you were into in the past, but not so much now? I guess.
I want to say that Mega Man hype died on me.
I
For
think
example,
I'm the same.
I still love Mega Man 2. And, you know, the OG Mega Mans, right? They will get exponentially, weirder or sillier, right? And difficulty can be very artificial, right? That now that you come back to it. But, like, I don't think I want to look past Mega Man 10, to be honest. Mega Man X. We call it 10 because back in Spanish, we call it 10 because nobody knew, right?
Yeah. Dude, I had no interest in Mega Man 11. Like, it was announced, I'm just like, man, I don't even care about the retro series. Like, if you give me a new X game, maybe I'll be like, okay, but like, it's just series burnout and just like really freaking annoying, like level design and some of the games just hurts it.
Well, I guess I would still be interested to look and see what they have to do. Like, I'm still interested to play Mega Man 11, but it's not a series that I'm actively. I guess what happened with Mighty Number 9. The thing is, like, the thing that happened with Castlevania, right? Like, now we're gonna get a game that we have been waiting for almost 4 years now from IGA, but I don't think that game is gonna live to its hype. I think that game's gonna be it's gonna be like a 7, you know.
I think so it's kind of interesting. Like I've had, I want this game to be good, right? Like I obviously want it, but I already have reservations on it. Probably for stupid reasons too. I guess the fact that it's been in like development limbo for so long is very concerning because. Too many games have been in that development limbo and they've turned out pretty crappy. Duke Nukem Forever, shining example of that. The art style, like when I saw that, I'm like, wow, this is really fucking ugly. I don't like this. I think the pixel art would age like infinitely better across the test of time. And now we're gonna, and now we had like these PS2 style models just being brought out in like what 2018, 2019 for like a trailer.
Right.
And it's just like I don't know. I see an indie game a different indie game doing better than something that the director of Castlevania worked on, and that makes me very sad.
Yeah, I think that I guess it happened to me a little bit also with Pokemon. Like when after Peril.
Oh yeah, that's such a good example.
After Peril, I was like, I don't know, like I don't really want to keep playing. You know, every time I tried, I keep myself I try to keep myself interested. You know, and. By the way, with Mega Man, I do still follow like 10 accounts in Twitter, like produce Mega Man content. But the thing is, like, I think I'm actually more interested in a Mega Man Battle Network than a regular Mega Man. But right?
Oh really?
Yeah. But yeah, Pokemon. It's like I kept myself like trying to be interested and buying the games, but I do one gym or two. I'm like, I don't want to play this anymore. You know? And I don't know. It's because of the format that needs to be changed, and that's why for me it was refreshing to see.
It hasn't evolved that much. Like if we're being like super critical about it.
No, the thing is like, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
The thing is like, no, like that's why I was interested to see. Was a welcome experience for me for the new Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu because they changed the formula. You know, well a little bit, right? You don't have to fight the Pokemon that you catch. You know, you can level up just by catching. You can see the Pokemon outside. You know, it's full 3D and etc. Things like that. I'm like. Yeah, I mean, okay, I get it. You know, it's like less annoying at least for me. You know.
Yeah, it's definitely convenient, and like, I don't know. I think I guess like the Pokemon series is kind of like the Mega Man series, I guess, in terms of burnout. Like, and I'm not saying like the Pokemon series is badly designed, but in terms of the Pokemon series, it feels homogenized, you know, because it's the same format each time. Like I know they try to like shake it up with Sun and Moon by like kind of having like, oh, the totem Pokemon. It doesn't have gym leaders, but it kind of does
Right.
because you have to fight the 4 big Kahunas or whatever they're called. And it's like that kind of format change isn't enough. And for me, the coolest part about Pokemon is having like an entirely new team of Pokemon to work with in each game. And when I played, I think it was like X and Y, it had like what 50 or something like that, and I'm just like, this is an expansion pack. This is not a new game. Like I get that it's a new region, but
You had
it
the
feels
Mega
so
Evolutions
devoid.
thing, right? X and Y.
Yeah, it did, but like
I think Mega Evolutions were not necessary to be honest.
I think they're interesting for shifting up the meta game for Pokemon, which is actually really cool to me because I'm a big fan of Pokemon Showdown, which is like it's like a simulator for Pokemon, but it has like competitive battles, and it's just
Right.
I think the Mega Evolutions are super neat and add a lot of variety gameplay wise.
Maybe.
But
Yeah. I think we can go way deeper in that actually. But yeah, one another game that after 2 I didn't give a flying F was Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed.
I've never been interested in that
I
series. I always
like
thought it was horrible.
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care where you put this Assassin's Creed game. I don't care if you have a boat. I don't care if you're like another assassin. I don't care if you can be, if you can now have a team. I don't care if you can fast travel. I don't care. I don't care about Assassin's Creed. You know what I mean? Like, oh my god.
It doesn't matter where you are in the world, but one way or another, they're gonna find a way to make you do a stupid trailing mission. I don't know how
Yes.
they do it, but they do it.
Oh shit. Also,
It's the biggest.
one genre too, one game, Tomb
Mhm.
Raider. I don't care anymore about Tomb Raider.
I actually really like the new Tomb Raiders. I think they're super cool. Like I haven't I've only played like I've only finished one Tomb Raider game. It was like the first modern reboot. But
Yeah.
like after playing that, I really want to like go back and try like Tomb Raider Anniversary and all that. Maybe Underworld, and I want to try like the modern ones as well because they're like Uncharted, and I like Uncharted.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The thing is, what I see now, my feeling was that Tomb Raider is like a dollar option of Uncharted. You know what I mean? Like a dollar store.
You think so?
Yeah. I don't know, dude. I don't know.
I think it holds up on its own really well. Like gameplay wise, it adds some new stuff. Like I think there's like some more wide open areas compared to Uncharted too. So it kind of ditches some sort of the linearity from Uncharted, which is kind of like Divergent, I guess, you know.
I guess so.
And
Yeah.
let's be real, Tomb Raider was the original Uncharted, so
I mean, I do respect that. That's true. That's true. That's true. I mean, it's like, yeah. Well, Indiana Jones was the original Uncharted, right? Or like, what's his name? Pitfall. Do you remember Pitfall?
oh my god, the game on the Atari where
It
like
was
you're just like
Atari or
running,
something.
yeah, and
Yeah,
you're just trying to like swing on vines over like
yeah,
pits.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Original, dude.
Old
I'm
school.
seeing here. I want to say, I don't know. I'm, I looked up like a list of big game franchise,
Yeah.
or like sagas and stuff. I'm seeing here. Well, the things like, well, you know what I used to love? I used to love Splinter Cell.
Oh really?
Yeah, I used to love like at least the first one, right? And it
Mhm.
was like I remember when it came out, like people were like, "Wow, this guy can kick Snake's ass, man! Like this is like real stealth now." You know what I mean? I was like, "Man, don't talk shit about Snake, man. The Snake is the best."
It's true. Speaking
uh,
of like Splinter Cell and Snake, ironically I stopped caring about like Metal Gear after I think like the fourth game because like I
Metal
don't remember
Gear.
when yeah, Metal Gear, like because after like the fourth one I think they released like Peace Walker or something like that, and
Hmm.
I did not like that game at all. And the fact that like it felt like MGS5 was kind of like Peace Walker but like evolved in like a lot of aspects, and like I get it, like the stealth is at its best in
Yeah,
MGS5, right? Like I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but
yeah,
like I don't know. I'm still not a fan of like the super massive like designs of like the levels in addition to the
yeah.
like the weaker narrative. That is like the biggest problem because Metal Gear is like known for its cool plot, and it's like if part
Or
of it is quite literally missing, like why am I playing like a narrative driven like stealth espionage action game, right?
I did enjoy the plot twist at the end, to be honest with you. And nobody
Mhm.
can tell me, nobody can fucking tell me they call it that they was like, "Oh, this is what's gonna happen." You know what I mean? I
I
did
think
like
it's
it.
cool.
I did think that there will have been more missions who have benefited for like more tight stealth and not like big open world thing.
Uh-huh.
Definitely. I can also agree that there's a lot of areas that are just empty. There's nothing. If you just go into the world, you know what I mean? However, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt you.
No, I think, however, that what I did would happen with Peace Walker, right? At least, the mobile ones, I tried to ignore them. I actually actively was like,
Really?
I'm not gonna go and put myself to this because, I know it adds, I consider it more as an add-on to the story because I could just read what happens because the thing is like, ideally what they were like, usually they were just like generic in, you need to help, Big Boss on getting like some soldiers, man. And, because this happened.
Gotta build Outer Haven.
Yeah, again, like something with South America and Costa Rica and these new characters. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. I can read about this. I don't have to play the whole game. Just capturing guys. You know what I mean? And things like that, I don't know.
Can we mention the spoiler for the game?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So
are
you referring to
5?
the 5, yeah. It's been out for like several years.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, cool. Are you referring to the thing where like your character wasn't Big Boss all along?
Right.
I actually really like that twist. Like I haven't finished the game, but my cousin told me about it. But
Yeah,
I really
love it.
I love the symbolism that because it's just like, because we were Big Boss like all along, sort of like in spirit. Like as a player, like we were leading Outer Haven. We were building it up like from the get go. Like it doesn't matter like what our profession is. Like we did that like on our own.
Right.
Like that's so cool.
Right.
I love that.
I actually really, really liked it, and a lot of people didn't like it, and I recognize also there's a lot of stuff that it's definitely incomplete, and there's definitely things that I'm like, why is this like this? Like there's something missing. But I did enjoy, like I will definitely agree with you that it's like definitely the peak of stealth in stealth games.
Yeah, absolutely. There's just so many ways you can like go about like doing the various missions, and it's just like the flexibility of it. Like even though I can recognize my own bias that I don't like the game, I recognize that like the stealth mechanics are really, really, really good.
Yeah, super tight, and I'm happy to see that. I like to think that Kojima will do justice to Metal Gear through Death Stranding. I like it.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. I mean, he's gonna have something like good planned for the gaming industry, right? Like, take all the time he needs. Like,
I think you just gotta give him time and money, and he can make someone better than Snake that you can look up to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Snake. Or Raiden. Colonel. Pre-order Death Stranding. First of all, how dare you? Second of all, I don't pre-order games. Okay.
Ooh.
Third of all, guys, never pre-order games. Okay. It doesn't matter if it's gonna be by Kojima or by Jesus Christ or by fucking Obama. Do not pre-order the game. If you can
tell me why.
I'm gonna tell you something. It's fine to be hyped, and it's fine to know that you are like gonna be like, you know what? Even though if this game gets 4 out of 10, I'm gonna still buy it, right? Right? Because I'm hyped. I like the genre. I like the saga or whatever, right? But the thing is like, what if it's a collab between Jesus and Obama? Well, then we have to talk about it, okay? Then we need to see if they have DLC, if they want to, you have no power over me. I do whatever I want. You never real that. Listen to me. Let me tell you something. If you're still gonna buy it, that's fine. Like you're bought into the hype, you're gonna buy it. You can wait until the first day and still buy it, and that's not pre-order. You know what I mean? When the day is released, you say, okay, now I'm gonna buy the game. You don't need to buy the game before it's out.
But what about the pre-order DLC?
What about pre-order deals, man? What about my mask that I'm gonna get? Like, you know what's funny about pre-order stuff like that you get? It's either you can get it later in the game, or after 3 hours in, you're gonna, I want to change this. I'm tired of this already. When it's cosmetics like that, it doesn't matter. Oh my goodness. Go ahead.
You know what the coolest pre-order bonus I got was? It was for Persona 3 Portable, and I actually got a hat from one of the protagonists in that game, and I thought that was like actually really cool because I didn't have to pay extra. Like I just got like a cool hat with the game. Okay, here's the question.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I phrased this too well. So what's the deal with everyone saying like like hard games are like Dark Souls, right? Like that, I hear that phrase so much.
I hate it.
I hate it too, because it's like, have you played? Is this the only quote unquote difficult game you've played? Like, there's so many other games. Like, come on.
Well, the thing is like, well, I can say a couple things about this. First of all, I do hate it. Second of all, is that I think there is like a notion of what the Dark Souls has done as a genre and as a game to the gaming industry is actually important to note, right? Because of level design, you know, implicit story, you know, world building, gameplay, you know, also, you know, the challenge and things like that. He has brought a lot, right? That people has been like, oh shit, I need to rethink how to do my games. You know what I mean? Like risk reward, you know, things like that. You know, that feeling of, you know, like holy shit, I did this and it was only me. Well, even though you can get, you know, someone to help you and blah blah blah. But the thing is like, the thing is like, I think that's a positive thing. You know what I mean? But the thing is like, they gets to a point is that Dark Souls wasn't the only game that was, it wasn't the first game that was hard, right? The thing is like,
yeah, exactly.
The problem, the thing is like, I think to note is that, right, to be realistic, or what's the name, to be objective, is that because of the things that Dark Souls brought to the gaming industry, it means that it became in a level that is mainstream, that most people or most gamers know about it, and it's a good barometer or like good measure of how hard or challenging something can be. However, the thing is like, the problem is that when you actually want to name something that is challenging, or when indie games come out or games come out, it's like, it's as hard as Dark Souls, or it's like the mechanic that they think that the reason why Dark Souls is hard is because you lose your XP when you die, because then there is no actual repercussion, right? Like there needs to be some kind of like punishment when you die. Let's take the XP, you know what I mean? And the thing is like, that's the wrong way to look at it, you know what I mean?
Dude, yeah, and that's a good point you bring up, because like in Hollow Knight, that really pissed me off that like that was like a mechanic in the game. And like, I don't think I got to the point where like my shade died, because but it's just like, this seems so arbitrary. Like this game could have worked without this like mechanic, and it's like,
Absolutely.
you know, I get its source inspiration, but like it's not something that needs to be in like everything it's inspired by, right? It's intrusive, and I don't like that.
Right. Oops. I thought the music went off for a bit and it wasn't going.
Oh.
But it's back. I was like, this is very quiet. I'm getting closer here. This is getting closer to Lee here. Okay. Let me do this one. Okay, so yeah, I think the thing is like, I think that when people tell me, oh wow, it's so hard, it's like Dark Souls. The thing is that, well, two things. It's like, it's as hard as Dark Souls, right? Yes. I'm like, okay, I'll try. The thing is like, I think Dark Souls is hard, right? I think it's challenging. I think it's
hard, but it's pretty fair. Like, that's the thing.
I was gonna say, I think it's balanced, right? The thing is like, I guess depending on the person, some people actually find it impossible, and some people actually maybe doesn't have the experience or the dexterity, like playing games, like with hand to eye coordination and things like that. Even remembering where buttons are placed and things like that. Let's say it's beginners, or people who have played like mobile mostly, or or handheld mostly, or things like that. But the thing is like, it's all about.
It's a simple game fundamentally.
It's a simple game fundamentally,
Dodge and
right?
hit.
Yeah, right. The thing is like, I don't want to look at like that, because I think that's also diminishing or reducing its impact, because most games can be reduced to pressing buttons too. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. The thing is like, I guess the things that the games does is like reimagine or is challenge the conventions, or or challenge the what people are used to in games, right? That it needs to be certain. For example, I would say that Castlevania 4. I'm not talking about the last part.
Tell me about that, because I've yet to finish that without save states.
The last act is harder than Dark Souls, than the whole game of Dark Souls, right? I would say it requires more skill and more challenge and more calculation. You need to like plan every single thing that you do, right? To get that, because at the end you have 4 bosses back to back. You know what I mean?
Let's not forget about that stupid staircase that can like it has like spikes in the ceiling. Like, and if you don't do that before, like, you're gonna die. It's literally unfair against the player.
And I think, for example, like part of the mainstream thing that I told you is that there is a lot of new gamers, right, and new people who get into games and things like that, and the easiest way to point them to a game that is difficult is to point them to something that is recent, which is Dark Souls 2. So there are a lot of retro games that are absolutely disgustingly hard, either because of the limitation of hardware, a limitation of or like they're clunky, or game design, like or they're like actually purposely hard, that are actually not brought up in general, right? Like because people just don't know about them, or they don't care about retro games or things like that. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't want to take away the challenge that Dark Souls provides because of that. I guess the thing is, like, you need to know who is saying like, oh, it's as hard as Dark Souls, so you don't actually get triggered by it.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's just like how common it was that how common that like phrase was that just annoys me, and it's like, yeah, it is probably like one of the better examples of like a recent like hard game, but like I don't know. I mean, it's understandable. I get it.
Yeah. I mean,
I just kind of wish people would like actually say like something other than that at least once.
Right. I think it's also difficult, right? Because for everyone, like a game that is easy for example, yesterday I rated someone who was playing Yoshi, and she was having a lot of trouble playing Yoshi. She wasn't even playing mellow mode. Not even like she wasn't playing mellow mode. People were telling her to switch to mellow, because mellow is easier, right? It's actually a place for you basically. And she was like, no, I wanna play. I wanna try to beat it myself. And she was saying that the game was hard for her, because the first thing that people asked me when I rated, was the game hard for you? And I say, well, no, I wouldn't say it's hard. The thing is, like, again, the thing is, like, I'm very good at platforms. I have experience of it. The thing is, like, and for many people, a game like Yoshi can be hard, right? And for many people, maybe Dark Souls is not hard, like a speedrun, right? Because they can beat it without being hit, without upgrading.
Yo, bless the people that can do that. I never want to do that in my life.
Exactly. But in general, right? They say the 80% or the 75% is like, wow, this game is actually challenging, and there is maybe a 15% that is like, this game is really fucking hard, impossible, and there is another 15% that is like, oh, it's okay, it's cool, I can play it, However, the thing is, like, being between Dark Souls and Bloodborne and Demon Souls, there's also a change of difficulty a lot based on how the game has evolved, on the mechanics that are introducing. And the thing is, I think if you take one of each, even including Sekiro now, if you take one of each, it fits a different gamer, I'll say. And a different taste, and that may be why, for example, you and I, or even Dai, or people that we know, or Pontiff, right? They will prefer Bloodborne above all of the others, because it has certain stuff that is like, wow, I really like about this thing about this game specifically. But for example, there's people that say, oh, Dark Souls 2 and 3 is just easier than Dark Souls 1, which I agree. You know what I mean, too? But I think it's just designed for different people. Like, some people would like it more than others. Like, depends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know with Bloodborne specifically, I like the emphasis on like less shielding / turtling in fights, because I can't do a shield parry to save my life. I find that super hard. I can do a gun parry like on reaction for like a ton of enemies, and like I'm actually pretty proud of that.
Right.
But it's just, yeah, I guess like the strengths of each of the games like cater to like the strengths of each of the players.
Right.
I know Sekiro looks good for the mobility alone. Like, I feel like that would actually click with me the most.
Right, like no stamina, and you can like
oh, it's so good.
Hook through stuff. Like, there's more mobility. Like, you can parry, but it's a parry game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
like
the
Punch
game.
Out, but with swords.
Right. It says here, do you guys hear about the dude who beat the whole Source franchise without being hit like a week ago? Yeah, I did.
Oh wow! Congrats to him.
Yeah, it's good.
Cool.
Okay.
Let's see.
Hidden.
All right, so how about this one? I was kind of thinking about this the other day, and like, I don't remember where I read this, but I heard it. There were a lot of people bashing like so many games for going like, oh, it's using like the retro, like pixel aesthetic. So, do you think all of these modern retro games are getting out of hand? Like, do you think too many games are like doing that? Like, is there an oversaturation for that? Because like,
to be honest, like 5 years ago, I used to think that, holy shit, there are so many games that look like retro, 16-bit, 8-bit, or something like that. They're not even one or the other. They're just inspired by it, right? And I think that's also because of the success of Fez when it came out and Super Meat Boy. That indie devs were like, holy shit, we need to do something like that. Like, obviously people are gonna like it because it's nostalgia and it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be this, like that. You know, like whatever. The thing is, like, I used to think that, like, there are like so many games like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, like, one thing that I have seen, that I have learned more, I know better now, right? I still enjoy a good game, a game that is like use the pixel art approach that is well done. And one, for example, I can say for that is, for example, Dead Cells. Dead Cells goes above and beyond on making it look absolutely amazing, still modern, but still respecting some aspects of the pixel art, right?
Yeah.
Or you know what the medium brings to the game, and also Fez, right? Too, let's say.
Yeah.
But for example, or like, but for example, when you have like a saturation of games that is like the things that happen with that is because there are like more tools and engines that make it easier for you to create this kind of thing. You know what I mean? And most people, I guess, most older generations, right, of creators will actually opt to do it this way because it's a nostalgia thing, like you know, I get it, and things like that. And you know, maybe it's easier. You need to like design for less frames. You don't need to actually animate in 3D. You don't actually do this or that. But the things like, for example, there's like things that go above and beyond on being crazy, like what happened with Cuphead. Is like, no, actually, we're gonna draw every single frame different. You know what I mean?
Oh my god, that took so long for development. Oh my god, and for me, I find that a shame because like, I think that's like one of the coolest looking games I've ever seen. But man, like, that game frustrates me for like some of the wrong reasons, and like, I don't know. It's probably just me. Like, I think there's certain things that I would have loved to see in the game. Like, I think the way it should have been done, I don't think the boss battles and like the linear stages should have been separate. I think it should have been linear stages leading to a boss battle.
Yeah.
I think there's a good reason why that design philosophy is like stuck since like its inception and for like a lot of games. And seeing the game segmented in that kind of like aspect kind of frustrates me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Sorry,
think
I know
that.
I went on a tangent for that.
Oh no, that's okay. I think that I have become better also at filtering lower quality stuff. The thing is like, now more than ever is the age of the indie games, right?
Yeah.
And indie developers know exactly what they're doing now. Indie developers are not like indie anymore. Indie was considered like two people, one person, doing something experimental, something small. But now there are so many tools and things like, if you put the time, you know, if you want to do it dope, you know, you will see a lot of dope. There's a lot of dope shit out there that is amazing.
Yeah, there is.
Right, and there is a lot of studios supporting indie developers, indie creators too. But for example, like, one way to actually go absolutely crazy is what happened with Messenger. Messenger, like, I'm so happy I didn't get spoiled about what happens in that game because I had no idea the 16-bit thing was gonna happen.
Oh, really?
I had
you
no
didn't see
idea.
the trailer? Oh wow.
No, I saw
the trailer, so I'm like, oh, that's cool.
some images, right? But all of them were 8-bit, and I was like, I don't want to know more about this. I know this game is good, and that's usually what I do with games now. With games like that I get, that are not like AAA or something. Like, wow, this looks cool. I want to try it out. You know, it absolutely blew my mind. You know what I mean? Because it was done also well. It was like, it's incredibly well done, and that make. Not just that, like, game is actually hilarious, its writing is excellent, the gameplay is tight, it's an incredible game. Like, it became one of my top favorite games of all time.
Nice.
Like, in general, right? And the thing is that Messenger, for example, you see, for example, against Devolver Digital, right? Most of their games are like, you know, pixel, right? Based.
Yeah, pretty much.
But the thing is, like, they know how to do that. And they're not indie anymore at this level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're definitely like their own studio at this point.
Right.
Seeing as how they got like a press conference at
Right.
E3 as well too, like that's cool to see them like
That's
go that
crazy.
far.
And they also go super artsy and crazy with doing those things. You know what I mean? They don't give a shit. They take risks, and that's something that AAA companies first party companies don't have are lacking a lot today is like taking risks, taking the right risks. You know what I mean? Besides, not releasing complete games, which is shit. Ugh, gross.
Oh man, I hate incomplete products. Like, such a pain.
Dice
Um,
Presso says, "Do you think it's good that the Messenger is getting DLC?"
oh, is it? I didn't even know about that. What's it getting?
Yeah,
Huh.
I don't know the name, but I think um, I'm torn, right? Because I usually like to think that if you release a game and it's complete, and Messenger is complete from beginning to end, I would think that a game like that wouldn't need it, and it happens also with Hollow Knight. I would think.
I'm actually more excited for the new Hollow Knight thing than I am for the original game.
Yeah, I'd rather them do a new game, right?
Yeah.
For Hollow, right? You know what I mean? Like instead of just keep releasing DLC, because the game was fine, right? As it was, and I like to think that I'm in that school of thought. But the thing is, like, I love the Messenger so much that I wouldn't mind. Right?
I'm always like dependent on what the DLC is. Like, for me, my favorite kind of DLC would be like if it's an alternate playable character that I could use in like the main campaign. Like, I would have been okay if Hornet was just like playable in like the main Hollow Knight campaign. But now the fact that we have an entire game being designed around her abilities, that's like, yes,
Right.
like that's amazing, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and it kind of happened like that in Shovel Knight. Ironically, both of the games about knights, right? Um, Plague Knight's campaign was like fairly similar-ish to Shovel Knight's campaign. And I'm like, that's cool. That's like a neat little extra thing that if you bought the original game, you didn't have to pay for. But they went the extra mile with the Spectre Knight campaign and that, and just they did the Hornet treatment. Like they designed an entirely new campaign around them, and like I'm like, this is a good way to do like an extra DLC/campaign. Sort of.
Actually, I was thinking to have a Spectre to be my next game, I think.
I would love to watch you play that because that is
Yeah.
probably one of my favorite speed games.
Yeah.
I like it more
yeah.
than
I mean, I got spoiled. I saw the whole game because you speed ran it, but
I feel bad now.
no, the thing is that there are some parts that I had no idea what you were doing. Like, is he buying things right now? Like, is he upgrading? Like,
Oh
obviously,
yeah, I turboed through those.
yeah, like I didn't get that part, which is good, which is part of like also what I like about games, like figuring out what upgrades I'm gonna get first, how I'm gonna like develop, grow as grow my character and things like that, and be better, obviously moving and skill wise and things.
Yeah, and I didn't really buy like too much when I played that. I think there's like 2 or 3 items that you use, and there's like a bunch more.
Dope.
So
yeah, I wanna play. I got it that time that you told me to get it, and I got it.
it's so good.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see. How are you on time right now?
Wait. Hey. How much? 10-15 minutes. I can do.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like looking through so many things. Oh, here's a good one. Annual releases. How do you feel about those? Waste of time, worth doing for devs?
You mean like Call of Duty?
Or Assassin's Creed. I think those are probably some of the most infamous games for like annual releases.
I'll forgive more if they actually had, like, at least for example, I guess the Destiny format, right? That is like, the game is gonna last 3 years, and each year is content every 3 months, regardless of my opinion of that, right? Than for them to get a new game, release a new game or a new story, a new environment every year.
Yeah.
Because usually, again, it happened with Division 2, Division, 2, right? That I guess it also depends on the size of the game too. It depends on how much they want to do. If it's a multiplayer game too. Wait, okay, I thought the sirens were like in the sound. But the thing is, like, yeah, I mean, I usually now at this point in my life, I do not get into the yearly release games. Like, that's not the kind of games that I play.
Yeah.
So I guess, like, I don't know if I have a very specific or strong opinion about it. I guess if it works for them, if they have a big enough team, if they can actually do something that is worth playing, maybe to catch my attention over people's. If he's still selling, listen, I get it. It's a business at the end of the day. If you can trick people into buying, good for you, my man. You know?
That's what it really comes down to, though. Like, and that's the problem, because like, when I think about game releases, like, I guess I don't really like the idea of an annual release because like, and it's not like a matter of it trying to be like a business, right? Like, I feel like a new game should effectively feel like a sequel to a series should ideally feel like almost like a kind of like a new experience, yet also building upon like what was there before. Um, but like so many of the like, I guess with like the Call of Duty games and Assassin's Creed games, like I don't feel like they're that much different compared to each of them. Like I guess for like the AC series, Assassin's Creed, it's just like it's a new environment, you're a different character, like it's a new map, but like you're effectively doing like very similar things in like each of those games, and it's like at what point do we need to make like an entirely new game because like the engine before just wasn't enough, right? Like, and like I wonder about certain games, like how long they're really destined to last. Like I think it's crazy that I think it's kind of crazy that something like Minecraft is still only like one game despite like having so much content. Like at what point do they need to make a sequel
Right.
to kind of
I guess it's the same for Elder Scrolls, right?
Yeah, because we've been like stuck in Skyrim for like quite a while now, right?
It's in 2011. 8 years.
Oh my god, is it really that long?
Yeah.
And there's so many like ports and like remakes and remasters, like.
Right. But it's still moddable and it's still expandable, right? I think they did what, 2? They did 3 DLCs or 4, and then they did an anniversary edition 2 years ago or something, or 3.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean the thing that like polish a little bit, you know what I mean? But
yeah.
Yeah. These kind of business, yeah. Oh, Sakurai Gamer says, as much as I like Call of Duty, the new microtransaction system is worse than a free-to-play game. The game is $60 and $100 with DLC unless you buy the season pass separate when it's $120. The microtransactions alone are more than $200 every season. Call of Duty format now is the biggest cash cow in the game. Cash cow game in history. Oof. Rip.
I would. Oh my god. Speaking of like crazy like amounts of like money to pay for games, have you seen Dead or Alive 6's I think it's like season pass or something like that?
I think it was like $90 or something like that.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like, what do you? You can't expect people to pay for this. I could buy like fucking like 7 or 8 indie games for that much. Like, that's insanity. Like,
you know how many tacos I can buy with $90?
Exactly. You could feed an entire family for probably a month for that. Crazy.
In a third world country for probably like 6 months, man.
Right, and it's just like, I don't understand how developers expect people like pay for something that absurd, especially for one thing, right? If it's for like a couple games, and it's like, okay, maybe I can get down with like spending that much, but it's like one game, and like I'm the kind of person who will not, like, I hate the idea of like only playing one game for like several years of my life. It's like I need variety, and like I'm not gonna drop that much on that.
You know, it makes me think like two things. I just think about the amount of money that I use that I use on League of Legends and Warframe, but yes, right? Back in the day, League of Legends, right? I don't play League of Legends anymore, guys. Okay, 5 years ago. Okay. Anyways, no, but
he was a different man.
It's different. Cheers, Rick. No, it made me think that it's interesting to think how do actually value is defined on digital media, right? Because also I guess there's a conversation of people always saying like games should have become cheaper throughout the years, right? Like for example, at least down to $40 or $50 or something. Like even though now that, for example, now that there's no production of physical, you still pay $60 for the digital version of the game.
Yeah, like shouldn't it be lowered because of like like lower price for like manufacturing or something?
Right. The thing is like I think at the end of the day, for physical production, the physical like making a copy of the disc, getting the plastic and the booklet or whatever, is actually cents. You know, it's literally cents, right? Even like including when you actually, take in consideration this, a game that sells 10 million copies is equals to $600 million, right? And if you put it this way, if they spent 100,000 on shipping to the stores, that's nothing compared to that. Yeah. I don't think that's even 1%, right?
Like that.
I need to Google this.
I'm bad at math. Someone in
1%
chat is gonna be like, no, that's not the right number.
of 600,000. Wait, 600 million? Oh yeah, I'm missing zeros here. I'm missing
Yeah,
zeros.
point 0.00.
Yeah, 1% is 6 million,
Wow.
right? And that's nothing. It's like it's not even like I think it's maybe 0.1, right? And at the end of the day, like it doesn't affect like the actual. They were actually putting the money because we were gonna get returned, for the physical thing. Anyways, my point is that DLC in general, like how a company can come and sit down and say, yeah, this is actually valued at $90. The thing is like, is it valued at $90? Does this make sense in that world of like measurement of digital media thing? When a game like Call of Duty every season has more than $200 per of content of paid things that you can pay for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like $90 for a year of content or a year of DLC or in general, like how do actually people I guess get to a point that is very subjective too.
Yeah, that's true. And like I guess like each gamer would probably find different value in different things. Like I think characters are like super valuable because in like different games, right? Because like in a fighting game, like there's so much work that goes into creating like one character because like you need to design like their animations for like every single move against like every single character, how they react to hit stun, like counter hit, and it's like
Right.
that's a lot. And like I know in Guilty Gear Rev 2, which was like the next version of it, they only released like 2 new characters in that, but like it's crazy a lot of the work that you have to do and like how we kind of value that, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. Sometimes I think, for example, I see something that when you think about it, then Hollow Knight's what, $15?
That is like one of the best valued games you could buy on the market at the moment.
Free DLC, like obviously there's nothing to complain about. You know what I mean? Like I cannot come and say this game doesn't need DLC when you are giving me DLC for free, right? I'm in no position to say it. But the thing is, like, in a game like that, like it's like what, between 20 and 30 hours, right, of gameplay. Like gameplay, like casually, I'm just playing this game, not like trying to completionist.
It's like content,
It's content. You know what I mean? And it's not like
that's our new term, by the way.
It's content, right? It's like when you, for example, put a game like, for example, I put to finish the main story only, right, on the Division. It was 30 hours. 30 hours. Division is a $60 game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or how do you I would like to know more about how the developer come up with that. Like, what would be a good price game? Like, does it have to do with release date, with the amount of content that we want to do more, mechanically, how does it look, who's gonna buy it, like an entry point because this is our first game, things like that. I guess when Braid came out too, Braid was what, $10? Limbo was $10 or something, and the group, the developer, they grew because of the game, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And now they're doing like, at least Jonathan Blow, the guy who signed Braid. He has a developer, a studio now, and they're making, like, they make The Witness, and it was $60. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even though The Witness can be beaten like in 25 hours, they say. You know what I mean? But the thing is that how do you manage that? Like, is it about credibility thing? It's complicated.
I think in addition to like designing like a game price wise or thinking about like prices for DLC for a game, I think one thing I was kind of thinking about a while ago, like, is it because like there's some games that are like $60 but they're like really short, and some are like $60 but they're absurdly long. Like role-playing games come to mind. Do you like, how do you feel about like pricing games depending on like how much content there is as opposed to like,
or I mean, how much time I can have to spend on it?
Yeah, because like I don't know, I definitely prefer, like, I like a shorter experience. I want the experience that's good, right? Like the better experience, right? If a game's too long, then I'm like, wow, this is like
I don't. It's getting long,
Yeah, and like I don't think that's a bad feeling. Like I think ideally you want a game to like leave you wanting more by the end of the experience, right?
I think that's a key point, though, right?
Yeah.
If the game is too long, for an example, Final Fantasy 15. By episode 13, it has like 15 episodes or something. I was like, I want this game to be over. I don't want to keep playing this game, but I want to know what happens, right?
Yeah.
When
And
I
by that
finish
point,
the
you're too
game,
far in.
right? When I finished the game, like I actually was satisfied with the ending. I was like, wow, that's so dope, you know? It was so fucking dope the last episode, right? Also, plot twist at the end. I don't want to say it in case.
No,
the plot
say
twist
it.
the plot twist is so big. No, say it.
Yes, dude. Like, just say
Uh,
what you
um,
want, man. Like, that's what we're
It
here
happens that you actually there's a time gap at the end that you
Ooh.
actually are you are stuck in this limbo thing, right? In this place, and you actually leave everyone. Everyone actually thought you were dead and you were gone. And you
Oh.
come back and the whole world has changed. Everyone is older. People has died, and you need to go finish the fight with that. You regroup again. It was so fucking satisfying. Holy shit! I'm getting like goosebumps right now. Like, and you go and you fight the bad guy, and you like, oh my fucking god! It was amazing, right? But the thing
So
is, like,
good.
2 episodes before that, like episodic, like, parts. I was like, oh my fucking god! I don't want to be here. I don't want to be doing this. I don't want to be farming this. I want to know. I want to just play this game. You know? I want to like the story to go on. I don't want to be in these mazes and things like that. And people who has played, like, I'm pretty sure they know what I'm talking about. But and that game I put, like, let's say 45 to 60 hours, 70, 80, I don't know, something like that. And right, for $60, let's say, right? That's an example. But for example, if I buy a game, I buy a Yoshi game, right? That
You're
I
spending
pay
$60
$60, and the Yoshi game is, I spend like 8 hours, right? I didn't 100% it, right?
Mhm.
And that's like the kind of game also that you have to put a lot of effort to actually get 100% on it, right? But you can still design that you can play normally and have fun and chill, even though the gate of the flowers between levels kind of sucks. But
That was weird.
that was kind of
Like,
weird,
I
right?
haven't seen that before in a Yoshi game.
I think Woolly World had it. I think.
Oh, really? Oh,
I think
maybe.
so.
It's been a while since I played that.
And I was like, for me, I finished Yoshi yesterday, and I didn't feel I wasted $60. There was a point where I was playing the game, when I put it on for the first time and I'm playing, that I stopped thinking about how much it cost me. Right? I'm playing it because I do enjoy it. I was hyped, having a good time and chilling. You know what I mean? Like, I stopped thinking about how much I put it, because also considering, like, in my case, video games are my main hobby, and that's where most of my money goes as far as a hobby, right? Like, I don't even drink or, whatever, I don't smoke, whatever, right? I put that money in video games, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
in my mind, it's like, okay, there's a new game, I'm hype, I wanted this game for a while, I'm gonna pay $60 for it, right? However, I have learned from games, like, for example, Spider-Man. I actually bought both the DLC and Spider-Man together at the same time, right? And I put that game maybe 45 hours, right? And the main story was 25 or something, right? And I got the DLC and I played the DLC, and it's like, oh, that's cool, whatever, I can play here and there. I don't think about it that way. There are many games when I'm not sure what I'm gonna be playing, when I'm not sure if I'm actually hyped. I think I look it up, like, how long is this game? Like,
I did the same.
yeah, which, like, I don't know. Sometimes I do want a shorter experience. Sometimes I do want a longer experience. But if it's long, I would think, wow. Let's say, for example, I'm craving an RPG story. I want to get an RPG, but I'm not sure if I want to get Dragon Quest 11. Like, am I willing to pay $45, $60, or wait for the Switch version to pay $60 when I'm gonna put 120 hours in the game? But the thing's like, I'm not even sure if I want to play an RPG that long.
Yeah, exactly. I man, two things. One, I wanted to reflect back on Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
I've not beaten the game. I plan to eventually. I don't really care about the spoilers for it. The little bit I have played, I can say with confidence that game is like the best way I can describe that game is like it's the best road trip you could ever go on with some of your best friends.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Like I was almost like, and I know like even in
It's
like
bro
it's just, like,
time.
opening, yeah, like even in the intro cutscene, like having them play like that whole Stand By Me while they were pushing the car, like I was almost tearing up, and that was
I
just the
didn't
start of the game.
expect that at all. It was like, holy shit, they're pushing, you know what I mean? That's amazing.
know. Yeah, and it was just like, oh, I love what I played to that. I need to play more. One thing I wanted to mention regarding like length of the game, I think as kind of an interesting analogy, think of it like this. in a musical artist spends 3 to 4 minutes pouring their heart out to make something interesting for 3 to 4 minutes, right? For a song, which is like probably like the average length. It's crazy to think that a video game developer has to like have that sort of engagement throughout an average 8-hour experience, even longer, and like it's more food for thought. Just like if I could leave you guys with anything, music artists have to make something interesting for 3 to 4 minutes. Game developers have to do that for much longer.
The whole experience.
Yeah.
I think also something to think about is that as a creator, I study fine arts too, as I was saying before. The final thing that you do in fine arts career, like in the college that I went to, is that you need to you make an expo, right? And you put the pieces that you have made in a gallery, and you have to price them.
Oh, really?
And that is one of the things that have put me in perspective of creators in general. The first time when that happened, I tried my best, right? I was gonna say I have never, because I think I did. I tried my best to never pirate anything like that. Because once you have to sit down and think the hours that you put, what you're trying to achieve, the things that you're making, the things you're creating, to put it out there for someone to come say, I'm gonna pay money for this. How are you gonna how much are you gonna say this is value? Based on what? You know what I mean? It's such an abstract thing to actually name a price for that thing. And people should be, I'm not saying, people are not grateful. People should be grateful that video games haven't become more expensive. Considering like some games have taken 10 years to make, 5 years to make, taking 600 people, 800 people, 10 people, it doesn't matter, to cost $60 for you to get a copy. You know what I mean? Right? Just out there, right? I think it's very hard, right? It's hard. I think it's like, it's a weird position too. Like, I think it's like everyone values money differently too, But if you are in the hobby, obviously, for example, sometimes I'd rather have, like a Metroidvania game that is like 5 to 10 hours. Let's say 4 to 8, right? That's my expectation. And was a point in Hollow Knight that I was like, holy shit, I'm not done with this game yet. What the fuck? When I was like 20 hours in, it just keeps going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
it's still priced cheaper than like most other indie games of that caliber, and it's like that's crazy. Like, this is a steal. Like, do you realize like how much like work has been put into this, and they're doing this for so much cheaper? Like, this is insanity.
Right.
Like, it's crazy.
That was a great actually topic to close, to be honest. But let me read the comments real quick.
Sure.
I have played and finished Final Fantasy thing as well. To be honest, they handled DLC very bad as well. I actually agree. I never played DLC of Final Fantasy. I wasn't interested at all. Second year DLC should have been only paid DLC. The game was still incomplete on launch after 10 years. SMH. I gave out Square Enix. I bet they will mess up Final Fantasy 7.
Oh no! I hope that one's good. I hope that one's good.
Yeah. I still love 15 despite its failures. I agree too. Me too. The thing is, like, it's not a game I would never sit down again to play that game. Right? But I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Right?
The experience you had was unforgettable, and like I think that's what counts. Not every game needs to be replayed.
And I think like not every game, like I guess it happened with Hollow Knight too. Like the sample that I absolutely love this game, but I wouldn't recommend it. Final Fantasy 15 is the same thing for me. Absolutely. I don't want to put people to the pain that I passed,
Not chapter 13.
Right, not that chapter 13. But the thing is, like, was it rewarding? Absolutely. Would I recommend it? No. But if you want to put yourself to the pain, go for it, and you're going to get rewarded, right? Lee, thanks a lot for your time. I think we have to come on to an end. We have done 2 hours and a half.
Yeah, I'm tired.
I'm hungry. I need to have dinner. Guys, thanks a lot. Let me see.
Thank you guys so much. Like, it was cool that we actually had like people like join us like mid convo. Like that's the first time we did this for Unplugged, and we look forward to more of that in the future.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Adrelia and Dice Presso for joining. So for the raid, 5 people. Zachary Gamer 64, Missy Dice Presso, Disco was here too. Thanks a lot for the lurkers. I have saw some names here and there. Peak Angel 13. I'm going up the chat. I'm going up the chat. Okay, yeah. Thanks to everyone who followed too. And please give a follow to Just Lee too, please, because let's be real here, okay?
You're too nice to me.
Let's be real, okay? Guys, we're gonna be like, thanks a lot for the cheer. It's also appreciated a lot. We have a podcast on Monday, April 8th at 9 p.m. EST. We have Disco and AC Sunshine. We're gonna have talking about some dope shit. We don't know yet. We're gonna decide the topic soon. But yeah, hopefully you guys see you there. Lee, if you wanna plug something real quick, go.
You guys know me. I'm just Lee Belmont. I do Castlevania speedruns. Yeah, I'm chill. I do. I'm actually gonna do like a speedrun of something tomorrow as like a random thing, and yeah, that's it. Marco,
Yeah.
as always, thank you so much for having me on this. It is a pleasure to be part of ADTS. I really couldn't ask for a better friend and coworker, I guess.
You're welcome, Marco. Thank you very much. Yeah, guys, I'm gonna stream on Wednesday again. I'm gonna do Spectre of the Night. Let's do that, right? And yeah, podcast next week. If you wanna join ADTS for the regular podcast, join the Discord. And have a great night, okay? And take care. I'll see you guys.